on the Iron Realm. I am Josh Corey. It is June 23rd, 2017. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is the longest Friday of the year. We're expecting 16 hours of daylight, which should be exciting for a Flat Earth Friday show. Maybe we can make this the longest Flat Earth Friday show of the year, but let's not count on it because we do pretty long shows as it is. So welcome. A nice, calming, relaxing week so far. Gentlemen, how has your week been?
Excellent.
Hi. There's Rob.
Yeah, very good, mate. Cheers.
And John. John must have had a good week too.
I've had a crazy, hectic week here, but it's been fun. I've had a lot of good times with the family. Hope you guys are doing good.
It's been a long week, guys, but it's been a good one. I've been looking forward to this chat all week.
Yeah, same here, brother.
Josh, you were just saying then did you say 16 hours for you of daylight today? Is that what you just said?
Yep, that's what they're calling for anyway.
I think it's 10. It's 10 today for me.
Really?
Sunrise is about 7. It hasn't quite come up yet. Or come toward me so I can see it. And I think it sets around about the 5 mark at the moment, so about 10 hours. 10 hours of sunlight for me.
And we're seeing it in the UK, rising in the northeast, setting in the northwest. So probably about 20 hours. You can see the glow all through the night. If you care to look. Sorry, Adam, you didn't say hello.
I'd agree with that, but good evening, everyone. Yeah, had a interesting week again with odd weather in the UK. It's gone from super tropical to crap British summer again.
It's nice.
But, yeah.
It's nice now.
Yeah. It's bearable, isn't it? It's nondescript, mate, is the weather right now. It's just like room temperature, isn't it? But yeah, I would agree. We're seeing at least 20. The sun's never really setting. I was up till 2 the other night, just gone, and you could still see slight illumination in the distance. Not necessarily what you call sunlight, but certainly illumination you can see.
I think one of the 360 guys' cameras caught it quite well the other day, I think. Caught the 24-hour glow, you know. We're not saying you can see the sun above the horizon for anyone who thinks that. We're saying after the sun has set, you can still see the glow of the sun on the horizon, and it slowly moves around until 4 or 5, 4:30 or something in the morning, and it pops its head up again over in the northeast. So yeah, it's I mean, that personally for me, that is a massive proof, not only of the flat circular Earth, but of a non-linear straight line sun, which is going to annoy a lot of people, or some people. But there you go.
The guy that works in my office, John, he said that, what you're describing with the sun that moves around you, you can sort of see it all night. He said, nah, it doesn't happen. And he lives in Nottingham with you, or was with you, Adam. But he said, nah, you don't see that at all. No.
Well, Adam is actually in Nottingham.
Here in Oregon.
It's tough in my office, I can tell you. But yeah, he denied seeing that.
You're seeing it as well, aren't you, in Oregon, Walt?
Oh, that's exactly correct, sir. In fact, today is our longest day. I'm trying to find it here online to see how long. But what I want to know is, if it was a ball and we're getting 17 hours here, what's happening on the other side? It just races around. It speeds up to make up for the other however many for 24. It doesn't make any sense.
Walt, about that in Oregon, because I was out last night. It was like literally 11:15 at night, and it was still light out here.
Yes, sir. Still light outside. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, James, Could
Go
you
ahead.
time lapse your B700 that you just bought?
Yeah.
And watch the glow move across the sky then? As it it should be moving.
If you have time tonight, I know it's your weekend. If we can spend an hour tonight later just going over it, I will 100% do it, and we can coordinate it together with ours.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see the glow of the sun. 20. I don't see it. Yeah, it's only for you guys up there, across there.
Okay. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I can't do it.
And to be fair, the B700 should be capable, and the 900, Adam, should be capable of getting that glow. Don't you think?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it can do.
Yeah,
You can do the super time lapse where you can do it for longer than the 2.5 hours. The standard, what I've been using is about 2.5 hours of time lapse, which might be enough just to see it move across. But you can also use the super time lapse, which goes for longer.
Mm.
So if you buy one of those interferometers from eBay for about £7, you can do as long exposures as you want, and as many and as long as you want. They're well worth getting, those things for like £7. It's a great little bit of kit.
What is it, John?
It's called an interferometer. So it's an intervalometer. Sorry, intervalometer. So it's just a little thing that comes with a lead, and you plug it into the thing on the side of your camera, and you can then program it to, take a long exposure for 999 shots, or 9,900, and infinite times in between, and even infinite. That's how I did my long exposure of the North Star. Was because a lot of these cameras have limitations on how long you can do a long exposure, or how long, like you were saying, Rob, how long the time lapse and that goes on for. Well, this just takes all of that out of there. It makes it manual, automated.
It's 150 shots is the standard.
Yeah,
it cuts it into a 10-second bit. But it's 2.5 hours into a 10-second bit.
Yeah, but sometimes we need
some really good stuff.
Sorry, John.
I may do that a couple times, Rob, for the 2-hour time lapse. I may do that because tonight's supposed to be the longest here too. So it might even be light at midnight here tonight. Wouldn't that be something? How's that work on a ball?
Can I take objection to Mr. Savage there in terms of some of the statements? I agree. It proves a flat plane. I think what it's starting to demonstrate to me, as you listen to what Rob's describing in terms of the number of sunlight hours he's receiving, even now, as we're describing what we're describing, it would allude to me to not be circular.
I'm happy with an ellipse. I have no problem with an elliptic, oblong or whatever. But something goes around me.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's concentric.
Yeah, there's a purpose for the prime meridian. Whilst ever you stay in a circle, the prime meridian is useless. But we're certainly aware of the prime meridian.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, everywhere on a circle is the prime meridian. There's no difference. As soon as you go to an ellipse, you've got a prime meridian either at the fattest point or at the narrowest point of the ellipse. So I suppose the point is, where would you determine the prime meridian of the sun's orbit? I would suggest where it hangs about longest. So the narrowest point of an ellipse, and that's therefore in line with the pyramids, isn't it? I would assume.
Yeah, like I say, I'll go with an ellipse. I'm happy with that.
I don't say it's that shape. It could be zigzaggy or all sorts. I have no idea. I just think the fact that we've not got a real massive reduction in Rob's hours indicates that there's something circular about it. And that also then
But if
runs
that was
through
the
all
case,
sorts
wouldn't
of-
it be different in South America and South Africa? You know, because somewhere, you know, if you're saying that it's ellipsed to the point where it's giving Australia more light than it should be getting, then surely at some route on its rotation, something else is going, somewhere else is going to suffer, or you know, have to pay the price. Surely. And that could be it. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I'm just saying that makes sense as well, doesn't it? That you would see an oscillation.
I don't postulate a definitive different shape. What I'm saying is it would suggest it's not circular, because a bit like the way you criticise the globe, as Walt was saying, you know, 17 hours here, where's the other bit on the other side? A circular thing is very proportional. So you would expect the change to be proportional, wouldn't you, in terms of, and that's not what we're seeing. What that means is a lot of
don't we get the different daylight days because it's on a slant, because it's on, they say it's on a tilt? Isn't that the reason why we sort of get funky daylight days in north and south and seasonal sort of thing?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that's particularly true. I think, as we describe our hours of daylight and light that we can see, we're seeing too much for that model to work, aren't we?
Well, I think, as I've said, well, actually, you know, what you're sort of saying is that there's not that much of a difference in light between us here, say, in the UK and Rob in Australia. I think there's actually quite a large difference, you know, compared to his summer, our winter, and that sort of thing. But what we do know is that in Australia, you can't read a book outside at 10 o'clock at night any time of year. That right, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely not. I was
Whereas,
just thinking, even in summer, the most I'll see the sun is 14 hours in summer. That's the most, and it's down to 10 hours now.
Is that what it says on the, you know, the time and date charts, the sun calc?
Oh, I think so. I think it's
all?
pretty close.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty close. Yeah. It's 5 till 7 in the middle of summer, and complete opposite. It's probably 7 till 5 or 7 till 5:30 or so in wintertime right now.
I mean, you'd have to compare it to something that's 19 degrees north of the equator, and believe me, I've tried looking for something that's 52 degrees south of the equator, and there's almost nothing to compare it with.
Yeah.
There's like a small island off Australia, South Australia, called Macquarie Island, that's 54 degrees south, I think, which is the same as the Isle of Man in the UK. I mean, this thing's just a spit in the middle of the Southern Oceans, but it was so harsh that they couldn't make it a penal colony. I've said that before. Whereas we've got, you know, it goes up to 62 degrees in the Faroe Islands, 62 degree north or whatever, you know, and they still get summers, they still get grass, people live there, no problem, voluntarily. It's not, you know, they can't even say it's a penal colony. Doesn't make sense to me.
No. All right. After a bit of research, I found out that I was hearing about it this weekend coming up, I thought, but it occurred on the 20th here. On the 20th, this place had 16 hours of daylight. So, you know.
That'd be interesting.
There you go.
Can you look up
where's the other 8?
Townsville?
Try. Let's see. I'll go ahead and do that.
See if
I had the direction too. It was leaving and coming to us. Well, I'll find that again. I've lost the page going back, but proceed.
But if we compare that to Townsville, like the best Townsville can do, and that, what you reckon, 14 hours or something, Rob?
Yeah, that'd be about it. Yep.
And what did you say, Walt, for where you were?
It was 16 hours of daylight here on the 20th, the longest day so far this year.
Right, so I'd like to
confirm,
that's 8
Rob. That's 8 hours we need somewhere. Hang on, I'm going to look it up.
And then because that's a huge difference, you know. Well, your latitude is in the third. Oh, where are you talking? Oregon or Louisiana?
Yeah, up here in Oregon. I'm still up here.
Okay. And we worked that out, didn't we? It was 45 degrees north or something.
Something like that. Let's see. For him, it was. Oh wait, that's for today. Keep talking. Hang.
It's definitely familiar, though. I remember going over this with you guys last year too. We were starting to look at this in Oregon and Louisiana, and then Canada,
Right.
and then Australia. Yeah,
I was here.
Funny how things come around in a year. You know, that's the kind of second topic that we've been through. Yeah,
Cyclical. Yeah.
It's also we. Until 2 years ago, we never even looked at this sort of stuff. Like just this morning, I'm looking at the sun and where it's rising this morning, and it's way around to the northeast. And you know, you don't even think about it for 40 odd years. You don't even think about it. It just, the sun just goes from one side to the other, and you don't even think about anything.
No.
So, and that's most.
If you do, it's just how gorgeous it is and how beautiful and how lucky you are to have a nice view with a big sun. And ooh, on a nice day, you can see the Isle of fill in the blanks, right? But people don't even clue in. Speaking of that, I got a guy in a men's group that I go to on Tuesday nights, and somebody I'm just introducing to the whole, you know, model of the flat earth and what we've kind of been talking about. And he was going through his dad's memoirs, and his dad's memoirs had a diary of his great grandfather. And I guess his great grandfather lived in Chicago or St. Louis. And it was a story about him being at a farm. And the main story was when they were all kids, they remembered on a clear day how they could lay down on their bellies at the farm and see a water tower that was 22 miles away on their bellies. So I just thought it was neat because, like, that's beyond impossible, but very cool.
That's refraction.
Oh, yes. It's all relative.
That's gravity.
All
Which leads me on to something that happened to me during the week, is that the guy in my office wikied me the Bedford level experiment and how refraction makes things bend. And on the wiki page, it had assuming the curve. That's how it was written. Assume the curve, and you must be looking through the same density, a different density of air if you want it to curve, and it's assuming the curve. I'll just go and find it because I thought that was.
I saw that. I thought that was really cool.
How can he send me a link to that if he hasn't even bloody read it himself? You know what I mean? I can't even find it. Sorry.
We've all done that.
Yeah.
He must be coming to some. It's been 2 years, Rob. What do you think's going through his head? Like, you're not wavering. You're getting stronger by the week. So I wonder what I would love to if we could only have filmed this whole thing.
Rob.
Yeah.
If you're gonna say to him assume the curve, then you also have to assume the temperature and the humidity. Because if you don't assume all of those, and none of it works, and because the refraction would change.
That's right.
But also in the architecture's manuals, the surveyor's manuals, it for one, it only talks about refraction, doesn't talk about curve of the earth. But for two, it notes that refraction can equally go up as it can go down, which I note that they contradicted in the quote that you publicised, Rob. But refraction on a cold or a hot day will bend things up and bend things down just as easily. So you may as well rule out refraction completely because you've no idea of the conditions.
That's right. That's exactly right. And this is how it's read. I just found it. So it's atmospheric refraction, and this is on the wiki page for the for the Bedford level experiment. Atmospheric refraction can produce the results noted by Rowbottom and Blunt. Because the density of the air in the Earth's atmosphere decreases with the height above the Earth's surface, all light rays traveling nearly horizontal bend downward, in brackets, assuming a curve or change in air temperature along the line of sight. This phenomenon is routinely allowed for in leveling and celestial navigation. So that's saying if I'm standing there on the edge on the beach, and it is 70% humidity, then it needs, for light to refract, it needs to be 50% humidity or 60 or 90. It has to be different for that refraction of light for the light to change between me and the object I'm trying to look at. And if you're only looking 10 miles and you're in the same, it's not going to, the humidity over the top of water will change a little bit, but it's not going to change as much as what they're.
Yeah, you're right.
I said to him, I've got islands out there. I've got islands out there that are now that I've worked out 115 kilometers away there, and I can see them in full view. On a good day, I can see them in full view, not just the top of the island. So I can see the whole island. He said, "Yeah, for a fraction." I said, "Bullshit, bullshit."
You know, Adam, one of the things that I was thinking of before, and awesome, Rob, but can we not try an experiment that creates the maximum amount of refraction in a controlled maybe environment, Adam, and kind of show them what the limits of refraction are with our cameras or something?
Well, if you stick a straw or a stick through water, then it refracts. That's the maximum that, you're looking through from 0% humidity or, a little bit of humidity into water, which is 100%.
Yeah.
So it's refracting a lot. So that's the maximum. That's the maximum that you'll see.
We know because of experience and what we've done that refraction is like laughable in terms of these long distances. So there must be a way to get a percentage maximum and then, use that in our formulas and our zetetic methods, right? To actually just eliminate that out of it.
If you go to the surveyor's manual, when they talk about refraction, I think they allow plus or minus 14% maximum. It's either 12 or 14%, something along those lines. So it was in the it was in a zetetic video done by Jeffrey Grubb.
On 12.
Yeah. And if you're looking through the same humidity, it will be even
Same.
a slight different in humidity. Might be 1% or 0.5%.
Yeah,
which
but
would be
you
more
say,
likely. Which would be more likely. It would be different if I was at 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet, and I was trying to see something that was at ground level. I'm looking through different humidity, so you might have a little bit more again. Yeah. But not when you're at the same level. Not when you're at the same level of trying to size things up.
Like you said, it may vary slightly, but we're not talking 10, 15%. We're talking 1, 2%.
I would say 1 or 2. Maybe. I would say 1 or 2 at most.
Looking out over water on the same day. When I did the Isle of Portland thing, it was horrendously cold. I mean, it was probably 0 degrees, but it was 0 degrees in Seaton and it was 0 degrees in the Isle of Portland. So, what really change? What change is there really in the atmosphere between the two? So, yeah, I totally agree.
It's actually quite frustrating because he said, yes, it's a ball, it's refraction. I said, but the refraction can't pull it all out of over the curve. It can't do that. And the big one for me in that little article or that little Wikipedia page was assuming the curve. I said, you can't assume the curve to begin with. I said, you can't have
all those Army manuals do that too, Rob. I've been looking at the Army manuals because some people are challenging our little line of sight laser, the star laser that you brought out. I've been using that. People are challenging it, saying, exactly what you just said. And I find it, I find that if we can, kind of blow it out of the water, if we can do the opposite, it may help. for your guy too to say, listen, here, this is the maximum we could do. And then what would he say to that, you think? You're a troll?
Oh, he's always got an answer. Always.
Our favorite buddy,
Always.
Sagan, our favorite buddy, Aristosthenes, they both assumed the curve and the ball when they always do their demonstration of the shadows and the obelisks showing that the Earth is a ball. Well, that's because you started out using that spherical trigonometry. You can't start assuming the ball to prove the ball.
My heart rate's getting up again, so
All right, calm down.
We better move on. We better move on again.
Find a koala and pet it. And
Josh.
I'm not finding a koala. Those things are dangerous, I tell you.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what I've heard.
What you got, James?
Oh, I was just thinking that you could kind of tell everybody what we have coming up today and kind of, move forward, like Rob said.
Oh, you mean like actually progress forward? Yeah, that sounds good. Well, let's see. We're just kind of cutting loose here this first hour. Hour 2, we have one of our followers on Twitter who goes by Bill's Man is Dead. His name is Earl. He's a former combat vet. He's going to come on and talk conspiracies with us, see what's weighing most heavily on his mind as of late. I don't know. We got a few other things to go over, some noteworthy news items. I think Adam's got a little list he'll go through for us. I don't know. Anybody else have anything? No, nothing good. All right. Well, then I guess we'll just.
I think that's.
Sorry, I was typing in chat.
I was trying to catch up with chat too for a second. I apologize.
No, that's all right. Everybody's got a chat room somewhere they're trying to type into.
Mm-hmm.
We should get a guy for that.
You, Josh?
Yeah, it would be nice if we did have a guy for that. What'd you say, James?
I just noticed there's a whole heap of other flat Earth lives going on at the moment too. So we're competing with a few others.
Well, that's one of my news items actually for this week that I wanted to talk about is the hundreds, if not, hundreds of multiple 24-hour live stream flat Earth channels. I think it was Josh that said ever since ODD did it. Was it he that did a video?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there are so many now. What do we want to say about that?
Go do it. Get the word out.
Yeah.
Fair play.
But we are real. We are real and we are live.
Yeah,
the other
we're
ones
here.
are just usually replays.
This is not a replay.
The other ones are usually are just replays of other stuff. So
who won the game last night, Rob? That way the news really today. Who won?
Well, we had Queensland versus New South Wales in the rugby league during the week, and our Queensland team won. John will be happy about that. How much money did you have on Queensland, John, to win the game?
I've tuned you out again.
They won. They kicked the goal in the last 2 minutes and won the game.
Was it overtime? Oh, triple overtime?
It didn't make it to overtime this one. Just one standard time.
I need to go find myself a chat room, don't I?
How about the Iron Realm one?
Right.
I'm doing a bit of math. I've figured out that between Rob and I, the longest day of the year on the 20th here, we had 26 hours and 38 minutes of daylight. Do with that what you will.
26 hours and there's 24 hours in it.
I thought that's what it was, 24 hours. That's kind of something's erroneous here. It's not my math. I've checked it twice. I'm just going to send the screenshots to you guys so you can do your mathematical wizardry. Hang on.
Oh, did you guys hear about the other billboard this week too? There was one that went up in Tulsa.
Bring it up. That's awesome.
Go.
Let's finish this 24-hour live stream thing first.
Yeah.
Well, I love the idea of having 24-hour live stream. I think it probably should be consolidated to one quality one instead of having 75 half-assed ones out there.
Here, we had 26
but that being said, there's a lot to be said for 75 half-assed 24/7 live stream flat Earth channels. I mean, it's hard to avoid that when you got 75 of them. But we've been doing stuff live for a year, and the last thing we need is more competition.
I'd say what they're useful for, guys, is I've seen them and they're a bit boring, aren't they? Because they're stuff we've already seen. But I think what we might be seeing in terms of the numbers and the popularity of there is what they would be very useful for would have been saving me hours and hours of trying to hunt out useful flat Earth YouTube videos compiled together. So I would have been quite happy in my first introductions to flat Earth to have sat there and watched one of these things for continuously, because it's one decent video after another. And
You
I think
guys remember the first 48? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. If I found that in the first 48, I'd be glued to all. I'd have like 7 monitors with 7 live streams going with 7 different videos. Oh. The first 48 hours of flat Earth are mental.
Yeah, I'd probably been dehydrated, half starved, trying to figure out when would be a good time to take a break.
Yeah,
but it's 24/7.
But would you agree that it's not something that us guys do? We don't sit there watching their live streams because a lot of it we've already digested over time. There's very little new content in there. So I think it might be quite reflective of the sheer uptake and the increase in numbers and people that are actually interested, if that's what we're seeing is.
But yet the shills keep saying flat Earth is dead and it's dying. No growth.
Yeah, they've been saying that for 2 years.
Yeah.
Despite the huge growth in numbers.
It's over.
Gaslighting them.
Well, of course it's dead. They have personally killed it on Twitter with their clever pictures of cartoons and their awesome math from people who assumed the ball, and they've killed it. It's dead.
You know what did it for me was the scientific rebuttals of Sliced Barcane. Just finished it for me.
Oh, that was heavy.
The sharpness of that analytical mind. It just, everything I've been thinking beforehand, I suddenly realised I was wrong the way he explained it in a clear and scientific manner. That's what threw me.
For me, it was watching the Bill Nye debate on Fox when he had some unbelievable facts for Tucker Carlson there, and he definitely won that debate. He sounded professional. He is very credible. That changed it for me.
For me, it was Negat Orcs and the way that he was in every single chat all the time, everywhere. So it was just his constant presence and repeating the same thing over and over. That's what did it for me.
What I really liked was the debate with Morgile and the best of the breed they could put forward on the Coast to Coast show. He was just so full of facts, figures, experiments, stuff that he'd done himself that Morgile just didn't stand a chance.
Right, they didn't prejudge or go into it like.
And they gave him plenty of time.
Oh, absolutely.
No, they'd really done their research, and they totally gave him the floor, but no, he muffed it.
Guys, we've gone John Le Bon.
We've gone John Le Bon.
Oh boy!
All right, it's time for a break.
It's time for another number off your list, Adam.
Oh, dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, we've kind of mentioned. You've quickly kind of mentioned them, so I'll start with that one, which was another flat Earth. As far as I can see, another flat Earth billboard.
Yes, perfect.
And that's the Tulsa one. And I think, as far as I could see, it was Paul on the Plains video I saw on it, and it was a lady called Marissa. So, full respect for Marissa. Amazing to get something like that off the ground. So, just a shout out to Marissa for the Tulsa Flat Earth billboard.
So that's 2 Flat Earth billboards for those keeping score at home. What's that? One in Philly and one in Tulsa.
Have we got anybody that knows? I mean, it's obviously in U.S. dollars, but what are you guys thinking it costs financially to run one of those big suckers for a week or so? What kind of money are we talking?
Wasn't it $900 for a week? IPS
for the one in Philadelphia.
Isn't that an electronic one as well?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Which is super cheap for an electronic billboard, by the way.
Adam, can you imagine how much it would cost to put one of them on the side of a scabby fish and chipper in Manchester or Nottingham, or probably pennies?
Yeah.
Is that the double-deckers, John, you're talking about? The big red buses, you mean?
No, just on the side of a fish and chipper, like the end of the.
What you want, John,
taxi.
is the back of a wagon. They're like you see on the motorway, and you're going up the motorway, and a farmer's allowed some bloke to stick the back of a wagon with a sign painted on that. So as you drive up the motorway, you see it in the field. That's what we want.
Well, yeah, yeah, like a hay bale thing, yeah, and then we could set it on fire one night or something. That'd be awesome. But no, what about instead of writing on the back of dirty vans, please wash me? Why don't you just write on there, research flat Earth?
That's a good idea. Actually,
interesting. You should say that.
Our guest. Ooh, go ahead, Walt. Give it.
I'm just gonna say every opportunity. If I'm at a restaurant that has a kid's blackboard with a pen or a chalk, or if I'm out, like one time they had a blackboard set up on the street for people to do like tags or whatever. Any chance I get to do that, research Flat Earth somewhere, or put IronRealmMedia.com on there, I definitely do so, sir. Yes, sir.
Nice.
Stop putting .com, but put IronRealmMedia.
I would hold off a couple weeks for the .com. But cash money is a good thing to print little messages on. I've always did one for Federal Reserve and belief in money and things like that. But you could do Research Flat Earth or your favorite Flat Earth website or Iron Realm Media or anything on dollar bills. And then who knows what kind of views that gets just through circulation.
That's going to stay around forever. That advertisement is like probably the best thing you can do is write it on money, man.
And how many hands it goes through as well. But Josh, do they have a law in America that it's illegal to, I mean, obviously a bullshit law, but it's illegal to deface the Federal Reserve note? Because we have in the UK.
Yeah, it is.
I think I've heard that, but
no, it is. I used to get, like, every time I'd go to a concert, I would get the person I would meet to sign a dollar bill. I've got about 20 dollar bills signed, and that's something you get in trouble about, because I had a few of them say, "Oh, I'm not supposed to do this." I'm like, "No, man, you're a rocker, do it."
I wonder if it's excuse me, because they know that money passes through so many hands. It's a perfect medium for advertising.
They do. It's a scare tactic, John. They never charge people. It's just like even the banks will threaten, "Oh, we'll take it this time." But if just like a broken bill, if you have it taped, they'll be like, "Okay, we'll take it this time." But it's like a big discouragement campaign, because they know, dude. This literally, we've just pinpointed the world's best advertising machine.
Interesting.
Hey guys, I just wanted to touch on a tweet that I saw in your feed, John, about and it had a guy called No Science for War, and he had old articles for Twitter, Facebook, Skype, and YouTube. Now, I think he's into the Mandela effect, so did you see that one, John? You know what I'm on about there? I've just put it.
I wonder if someone had just.
I've just put it in our room.
It. I thought someone had just done it in Photoshop or whatever, in an old fashioned style.
I asked the guy; he hasn't got back to me whether it was true or not. But it's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. I was just wondering if it was true or not. That's all.
I didn't regard it as being something authentic, but I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Predictive programming and all that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it was true. I asked the question, but he hasn't got back to me.
Anyone else see it?
No, that's all.
Seen a few of those little articles on Twitter that are fake. There was one circling the other day there about a June 2009 article where a NASA scientist reveals the Earth is flat from the 90s. That he's just sick and tired of it, but that was fake too. There's a lot of fakes.
You get shit like that from like the BBC and stuff. They like to put out crap on April Fool's Day, and then get everyone chatting about it. And then weeks later, they go, "Yeah, of course it was an April Fool's." But and doesn't everyone feel like a fool?
I would suggest the more and more popular Flat Earth gets, the more and more fake reports and dodgy science we're also going to see, which is purposely set out there for future ridicule and decriment.
Well, let's see what we've seen so far. We've had gravitational waves, we've had LIGO, we've had the million mile away Wi-Fi camera. what else we had? We had a second picture of the Earth, and two black holes colliding, showing gravitational. I mean, come on, all of that since 2015 or whatever, and now we're going to Mars.
I actually meant the complete opposite, actually, John. I meant in terms of flat Earth stuff, proofs coming out that proved to be false science, is what I was meaning. Not the standard kind of diatribe of nonsense. Oh, look,
that's at a fever pitch, though, John. You are right. The propaganda on that stuff, on new planets, new life, new Mars, new this, new that, is so ridiculously paced right now. They must be just pounding in their head the people that we haven't reached yet.
Well, have you got any examples, Adam, of what you think's going to come out, or what you've seen?
I think it brings me on. No, not directly, but it brings me on to the bubble apps stuff. And I think we're all at a point now where we all, certainly, if you bother to investigate further instead of just believing, you get to a point of having to try and comprehend the device in its fullness. And we seem to have two kind of different expert opinions stating gravity does play a role and it doesn't play a role. And I'm at the point now, today, after catching up on a few bits and bobs, kind of thinking I have to fully understand how this device fully accurately works in reality, not descriptions of weights on the end of a spring. Or
can I just say, Adam, that I at this point would differentiate and say, like I was saying earlier, of that quote that gravity, the word concept gravity is only necessary in a heliocentric model. What I think the effects, they call it gravity when they're talking about these MEMS gyroscopes and accelerometers and phones and things like that. But what they're actually talking about is, again, the laws of density and buoyancy. So you have these silicon little fibers, and they're being affected by density, and it's being described in the manuals and the software as gravity. So I'd just like to differentiate between gravity, the word, the concept that is only necessary in a heliocentric model, and the flat Earth concept of density and buoyancy being perfectly natural laws that do affect everything. I mean, density affects a gyroscope as well. It's not an anti-density device. But yeah, I just thought I'd make that distinction because I can't stand the word gravity.
Yes, gravity is the word they use for everything. And I'm learning that more and more and more as I walk into the corner office and have it out every day. It's just, gravity is the most amazing thing that has ever been thought up, ever.
It's not so much the word gravity.
It counts.
But
it counts for everything.
It's what the word conjures up in our brainwashed minds from birth.
But John, they're even making gravity affect software now. That's how far they've gone now. Is gravity is affecting the software in our computers to make it do what they want it to do.
Anybody ever needs to know about gravity and how fake it is that the biggest proof for me and for other people, the sun and the moon. Okay, if the Earth is being pulled by the gravity of the sun, how the is the moon there? It's dead right there. It's impossible. So just keep that in mind when you think about
Isn't their explanation is where the moon is actually getting closer to us, even by an inch a year or something like that? Isn't that the bullshit they're pulling out?
You would be hard pressed to even pass that in a room of drunken freaking scientists who
measured it. Yeah, but that'd be a theory of they would have got their maths scientific calculators out.
They actually claim that it's moving away from us, and they're saying in the regions of fractions of an inch per year, and they're using radar and their magic laser bouncers to accurately tell us this. So take that for whatever value you think that is.
It's just ridiculous to think that the moon and the sun are there with both these poles, and the sun pulls us, but yet the moon does jack, and it's ridiculous.
You're right, James. I mean, that's it. They say, you say, well, how come I've got this big lead ball here and I've got this speck of dust? How come this speck of dust doesn't doesn't attract itself to this big lead ball? And they say, well, because you're on the Earth, and the Earth is an even bigger ball, and that's got stronger gravity. And so that begs the question that you're pointing out, quite clearly, that if the moon, how come the moon isn't circling the sun, which is 800,000 miles in diameter and so much bigger than the speck of dust of the Earth? How come it isn't attracted to the sun like the speck of dust being attracted to the lead balloon instead of the lead ball instead of the Earth below it? I mean, nothing that is put forward about this makes any sense.
Yeah, but do you remember the story that I told, would be a couple of months ago now, about the Dr. Carl? You've heard me play that Dr. Carl video, but Dr. Carl was asked a question on gravity, and he said if you placed a child's swing next to a mountain, the swing would move towards the mountain just a slight bit.
And he's actually right about that. I think I said that at the point as well, because that's electromagnetic attraction. It's worth reading Miles Mathis, his paper on Cavendish, the Cavendish experiment. But that is what these experiments are picking up, and it's so easily picked up that they had to, Cavendish had to dampen the base of his experiment so it wouldn't turn so quickly, because everything around us is electrical in nature and is emitting an attraction, like the cathode ray tube and the speck of dust. But no, he's talking out of his arse in terms of a child's swing next to a mountain. I mean, they've tried this with, microscopic weights next to Everest and things like that. And there is a deviation, but no, not a child swing next to a mountain. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd have to see that to believe it. As in what even you're describing there, I'd have to see it to believe it, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anything else?
Well, I can bring it back to my roundup.
Sounds good.
It was odd. Well, there was a few things going off this week, and I just want to give a bit of a shout out first, and then it raises a question, something I saw briefly, and just want if anybody knows and fill us in what went off. There's been a number of bits of stuff going off this week with flat Earth gatherings and stuff, so I just think that's wicked. Flat Earth Asshole, I think Globebuster doing stuff, ODD, a few other bits and bobs. And I was just hunting a bit, see if there was anything in the UK, and there's a group called FEUKers.
I love the way that looks in text too when they use the abbreviation. That's great.
Yeah. I've not had a chance. It was like a 2-hour video just caught. So I've not had any chance, but there's a lot of views. They're obviously really popular. Wanted to give them a shout out, and I'm going to look into that and just see what kind of stuff's going off. So I wanted to look into that. If anybody's got any ideas, give us a shout out, because we will mention it, and I'm going to have a little look, see if there is anything.
Sorry, Adam, did you say that they're having a meetup?
Yeah, well, he just said they was talking about meetups. That's what it came up as, FEUKers, which is
Any
a load of
details?
caravans. That's as far as I've got, literally, mate. I'd delve into that. I'd seen the stuff that's
Maybe
going off
someone in chat knows.
Yeah, so I just had a little sniff of it. Point being, if anybody, wants anything, got any meetups that they've got going off in the UK, give us a shout out, and we'll certainly give it a mention, if not an attendance.
And Adam will even turn up, I was going to say.
You're a
For a
very
fee.
generous man with my time. But on that, there was one thing. The video's gone down now. I don't know if anyone knows about it. It was labelled up like Tim Osman at a Flat Earth gathering, and there was just a load of guys angrily gathering around somebody. There was Tim Osman sat at a table just a little distance away from a Flat Earth gathering, acting very sheepishly. And I don't know if anybody saw that. Like I said, the video's gone now, but it was just something put out there.
And I might say, if anyone is listening to this and they're from Australia, I'd love to hear from his, because I don't get anybody. There's a guy that I work with that is sort of into it as well, but I feel all alone down here. There's nothing happening.
Cue the violin
down
on the
here
soundboard there.
at all. At all. So please contact me at Rob_Freddy on Twitter.
What do you
I'd love
mean
to hear
down
from
here?
any Australian across here.
Thank you.
Across here.
Well, apparently here in Oregon, I mentioned it last week, and I actually found out a bit more about it. There is a group called Hiking for the Curve, Flat Earth, Oregon, and they are out in Saddle Mountain, which is in Seaside, Oregon. Looks like a guy named Chris Cox. They do meetings. They had one set up for Wednesday. I was not able to attend because I had family obligations here already. But hopefully, while I'm here, I'll be able to meet up with these guys and see what they're all about. But they do outdoor adventures. They head to the top of Saddle Mountain and look for the curve. And,
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to go check it out. I don't know about my hiking abilities. We'll see how
Bring your
that works
sextant.
out. But exactly, there you go.
Brilliant.
But yeah, they're
Did
out
I
there.
sound
They're
really
happy.
sad?
Yeah, Rob,
I
we're
sound
still
really
crying.
sad
That's why I
when-
was trying to pick it up with
Yeah.
some mountaintop climbs with your depression you
Yeah.
hit us with.
We'll get a Patreon going. We'll get you a blow up or something, or a VR or something. Coconut.
I was
Talk
going to say, there you go. VR, you have some little buddies to play with.
Coconut.
There is supposed to be a Flat Earth meetup here in Missouri, here in St. Louis, with the channel Ephesians 6:12. I exchanged a few messages. I know he was at least thinking about setting one up here in the near future.
Yep, I heard that.
I don't know, which I think would be really cool. I'd like to hit one of those. I think he'd show up. I think Flat Earth City. I think he's a local guy around here. I think he'd be good. Yeah, I think that's the next organic step. I think you find out about Flat Earth, you tell as many people as you can, and once that stalls out, you kind of have to start meeting up with like-minded individuals. I think that's going to be the next thing, is when you gather in numbers. So it's people to see you're not just a lone wingnut out there standing on your soapbox on the corner screaming at the air, but this is an actual thing where there's multiple people, not just a handful across the plain, but there are enough people to get these gatherings going in St. Louis or in Oregon or in Louisiana or in the UK and everywhere they're going on. It just shows that we're not alone. And I think that's awesome.
Or maybe you are that mad guy standing on the corner. Still come along. Why not?
Well, yeah, I meant that proverbially. I mean, I am that wingnut standing on the corner on his soapbox where everybody just kind of looks at you and just wonders, what the hell is he talking about? This guy's crazy. Let's give him a quarter.
I would just say that clinically, if there was a load of you in the room that were all nuts, yeah, and somebody walks in who believes the Earth is globe, then technically they would be in the minority and therefore the one that's technically insane.
Nope, that makes sense. It's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah. On that, just to round up, where we're talking about community spirit and that, and I think Antonio Subarats gets a lot of criticism for bits and bobs from certain sources, but he did bother to take the time this week, I think, to put out a video warning people about a flat Earth scam. Can you? I don't know. I don't really necessarily want to play it, but it was a Facebook scam advertising it as he put it out. I don't know if it is real or whatever, but I've not had a chance to look into it. But if you could put the link in the chat for us, Josh, I think that'd be quite useful. It's a Facebook scam that's trying to advertise and sell tickets for a similar thing to the Flat Earth conference in the US, but over in the UK. It's literally only had a chance to catch it, but I thought it was worth a mention.
Yeah, if you could send me that link. If you don't want to drop it in the chat yourself, you can drop it in the Twitter room, and I'll pick it up there, and I'll drop it in the chat, or we can do whatever. We're just coming up on our first hour, so I thought we might take a little break, spend 3 or 4 minutes. Everybody go freshen up their coffee, take a wee break, whatever you need to do.
Okay.
That's it. So that's it. Flat Earth Friday. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Coming up in the second hour, we've got Bill's Man is Dead, a.k.a. Earl, coming on to talk with us. I think that'll be exciting. So stick around. This is Iron Realm Media. Glad you're with us. Don't mind the strange noises.
Hello, Mom.
We're actually still working on something. This will be interesting. I'm curious to see how well this works.
Hey guys.
Hey, how's it going, Earl?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty good.
Good. So yeah, I thought I was a little bit late. I thought I had to be on at 5. I didn't realize.
Oh, it's no big deal. It's quite all right.
Oh, so what have you guys been talking about?
Very little. Just kind of going through some of the things that have been going on this week. Billboards for Flat Earth and things like that.
Okay. One thing I didn't even realize when I was talking to all you guys the other night that the main focus of the chat was about Flat Earth. I thought it was just about everything. But one thing I want to do with the Flat Earth is, since I live pretty much on Lake Erie, I live in Lakeview, New York, and that lake is 200 miles. Over 200 miles the long way, and it's pretty wide too. But just being able to go out there and just prove that the surface of that water doesn't curve, I have multiple ideas in my head, but it's just the simplest way to just completely prove the globe completely wrong. It's just using water. It's the simplest way.
That is one of the most common. That is probably one of the most inarguable proofs. The fact that water finds its level every time, everywhere.
So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I do have a laser. It's a cheap laser, but I bought it from one of those Chinese wholesale websites, but it shoots 5 miles. It's a class 3 laser. It's illegal to have it. Like you're not supposed to point it up in the sky and whatnot. But even that, at 5 miles, I could kayak out to the middle of that lake and get neck deep in water and hit a floating target if I put a buoy out there. And I could hit a target from 5 miles just above the water when there's no wind. And only have it like a few inches above the surface of the water, because the water's like glass on a perfect day. I think that would be pretty cool and fun to do, actually.
That'd be really good.
But so talking about things that have been happening, I mean, throughout the week and the past month, a lot of crazy things have been happening on the world stage. It's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, it's almost impossible.
Yeah. And hey, Earl, James here. Just wanted to say we are a flat Earth themed, kind of show, but we also cover all kinds of stuff. We do military, we do current events, we do spiritual, we do health, we do everything and everything. Our job is to get the voice out there and put together information that's distinct and clear, so that you guys can make the best decisions on what you get. So we're thrilled to have you on, and we actually have been looking forward to getting a military vet back on, and we'd love to hear your story. So don't feel obligated to stick with Flat Earth. I mean, it's all connected, and you've got some fascinating stuff on Jade Helm, the different programs, and don't think for a second we're not excited, buddy.
Okay. All right, good. I was just thinking, when I got off, I'm like, it was a Flat Earth thing. But yeah, there's so many other things going on. Huge events, like I said, on the world stage. Even people who are religious or not admit that prophetic things are happening. I don't know how an atheist can believe that without believing that this is a spiritual agenda, which it is. But me and my brother-in-law were talking, we're deep into like esoteric knowledge and occult, knowledge and shit. Yeah, I used to dabble in weird shit when I was younger too, and I got into witchcraft and Wicca, and I was trying to find myself, and I was like New Age and like fucking weirdo. But I discovered a lot of things over the years. It was a collaboration over a long period of time. I think it's it's like that with anybody. But like we were saying before, it's good to have other people to talk to about almost anything that if you were just to mention to a normal person, they would think you're a paranoid schizophrenic. You know what I'm saying? To say the least.
So just a little bit of background for Earl. You're 30-something, we'll say? 30-something-year-old?
32. I'm going to be the magic number 33 this September.
Awesome. Well, happy early birthday. That's just right around the corner.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, I don't know if we can take anything you're saying now seriously. I think you're going to be 33.
Do you have to ignore people for 1 year of everyday life?
Yeah, well, my birthday added together, my actual birth date equals the master number of 33.
Oh, God. Oh, here we go.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
So, something big's going to happen, boys.
But you are a combat vet.
Things will start breaking, mate. Your body starts giving up when you get to that age. That's what I like.
Yeah, Earl, Josh was just going to say, why don't you tell us a little bit about your history, just to give the viewers, since we had a chat earlier, a little bit about where you served and how long and where you came to be released, etc.
And before you get started, I just want to put this little caveat out there. Like myself, Earl is very passionate, and when he speaks, that passion really comes out. So if Earl maybe drops an F-bomb here or there or says some swear words, don't be offended. I try really hard not to swear every Friday, so let's cut him some slack and just let him go. Let him throw out that passion. Let him get as fired up as he wants without any judgment. Just let the guy go. Let the guy talk. Let him be himself.
Indeed, we want it from the heart, man. That was
yesterday.
That was great.
Amen.
13. But like I said, once I start talking about what's going on in the Middle East and the true agenda, and I start dabbling into that.
Fuck it, Earl. You feel free.
And sometimes I just can't hold back my emotion, but I'll try to keep myself in check if we do start getting into that topic. But like I said, I'm 32 years old now. I decided to join the Army after high school. I was 19 when I graduated boot camp, went to Fort Benning, Georgia, because I wanted to be an infantryman. I lied to my parents. I told them I was going to be a mechanic, and then they showed up at my graduation, and it was the turning blue ceremony where they put the infantry cord on our shoulder, and then my dad said, "You fucking lied to me." It was one of those things, but I was young and dumb. Like all of us were young and stupid. Some as young as 17-year-old boys that graduated high school at 17 got a permission slip from their fucking parents because the recruiter would show up at your high school and say, "Hey, here's a free T-shirt. Maybe you should sign this." But it seemed like the cool thing to do at that age. An 18, 19-year-old boy, the military is just always romanticized throughout your entire life. It's romanticized to the general public, and it seems cool and adventurous. So I always wanted to do that because I was pre-programmed to do that, like every soldier is across the world, but you don't realize that at a young age. So I graduated Fort Benning when I was 19, and then I got sent to 1st Armored Division, 26th Infantry, Alpha Company. My unit that I got sent to was already in Iraq, so all the new soldiers coming into 1st AD, we were put on what's called rear defense, so we got to spend a year in Germany before we ever had to deploy, which was nice because we got to explore Europe and visit. We'd get on that train on the weekend and just go party. We'd go to Amsterdam, Prague, all over the place. So that part of it was a good experience, but eventually deploying, I was supposed to go to Iraq with my first unit, and I got in a little bit of trouble when I was younger. I ended up getting demoted, and then I ended up getting kicked out of the Army, and that first unit got sent to Iraq without me, and 8 of my friends were killed over there. I had to wait 2 years to re-enlist, to get back into the Army. So I carried this guilt, and I wanted to go back in, and I still believed like the narrative. I still believed the story of 9/11 and Muslims and all that shit. So I was able to re-enlist, and I had to come back in as an E1, and I made it all the way back up to E4, but I ended up having to go to Afghanistan for a year. We went to Paktika province, Afghanistan from 2007 to 2008. Lost 5 of my friends there. I was almost killed over there in an IED explosion. I broke my back over there. It fucked me up pretty good. Now they're saying I got this brain injury from this explosion, but I'm not buying the brain injury bullshit because I think it's a vaccine injury, which is another story in itself. But to make a long story short, for me to already know 3 people that died in their mid-30s before their 40s that I served with from brain cancer, and they weren't in any explosion, okay, and they're dropping dead. Now all of a sudden I got this shit on my brain, and they're saying the VA says, oh, it must have just been from the explosion. Here, take these pills. So that's another story in itself. But after experiencing that and losing that many people close to me, and years after looking at this agenda going on for 16 years, and we've been bombing the shit out of a dozen countries nonstop every day for the past 16 years, and replacing governments, puppet governments, and even the stupidest person now, even if you somehow still believe the official story of 9/11, even those people are starting to say, wait, is there a bigger agenda here? So it really bothers me that most Americans just don't care. And I feel like that's why America is going to go down the drain, because the majority of the population just doesn't care. And not only does it anger me and upset me, it hurts me. And it eats me up inside that all these young men died for this shit, and it was all based on a lie, So I've just made it my mission now in life to speak the truth and try to, I just feel like I'm actually serving my country by trying to do something about it, even if it's just telling people about it. But I feel if I just sit back and don't do anything or don't say anything, then I'm a coward. I'm not really a patriot, and that's most Americans aren't. They're cowards. They're too comfortable in the make-believe world.
Just
it's so frustrating.
Oh yeah, it's definitely frustrating.
Right. Just one sec. That was really powerful testimony.
You're echoing quite bad.
Yeah, I'll drop out and come back, but that was great.
Oh, you're okay now.
Yeah, that was. I'm sorry for your loss as well, Earl.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Earl, when you said now you're trying to serve your country. Now you're doing what is exactly what you signed up to do. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing. I have a deep respect for human life, especially now that I have a young son. I have a newborn son, which I'm finally about to take home now. And everyone around me doesn't care about his future. I care about his future, but nobody else around me does. And to me, that as a veteran, it offends me that most people would rather listen to a guy in a suit on TV rather than listen to somebody like me that's telling them the truth.
Was it when you got back that you realised it was all a lie, Earl, or was it while you're over there you started to think differently?
I started to question things after this, these wars kept going on, and I Started learning what false flag attacks were, and I started studying false flag attacks in history that was hidden from us and it was never taught to us in school. So I kind of started snowballing from that when I started finding out huge chunks of history that we were lied to about, or it was omitted, or both. I just started connecting the dots. The whole thing with waking up to 9/11 to me is the most important truth, especially for an American to wake up to, because then they can wake up to the Zionist agenda and wake up to the United States and Israel and Saudi Arabia being the axis of evil on the world stage. There's a reason the rest of the world calls us the Great Satan, because that's what we are to the world.
Do you think there's many
statism to where they believe that they have to support their government like it's a sports team? Like it's our president and that's our government. They would never do anything wrong. They have this statism. It's a cult. It's a religious cult, and they don't realize that that's what that is. And they've been entrapped into it. But waking up to it definitely was a harder pill for me to swallow, because I take it more personally, and I've had a lot of friends of mine get killed because of this. If I can wake up, if I can accept that my government is a terrorist organization, then why can't the average American that hasn't gone to war and hasn't sacrificed anything, why is it so much harder for them to wake up to the truth?
Trauma.
No.
Lack of trauma.
Do you think there's many military over there right now, Earl, that are waking up while they're actually over there fighting?
There was one guy, Sergeant Dunford, that I was in Afghanistan with. He was from the 42nd ID, if I believe. There was guys that were called back. When you finish your contract in the Army, there's a 5-year period where they can still call you back up and say, hey, get your shit, you have to deploy all of a sudden. After that 5-year period, you're free. They can't do it. But there was guys that I met in my unit that were just called up randomly like that. But Sergeant Dunford was one of those guys, and he used to drop comments about 9/11 and certain people involved and weird coincidences and shit like that. I guess I never really looked into the shit he was saying or really even cared. I don't know. But years later, I'm saying, like, discovering all the shit that I discovered, like, I wish I would have listened to him and not blown him off back then. But it's weird. I guess it would be, there's no way that I would be in the Army and deploy if I knew the truth. Okay. I would fucking go AWOL. I just wouldn't do it. Like, I know the truth now, and all of our veterans and young men listening now that are thinking about enlisting, don't do it. Okay. Don't go to Syria. Don't deploy. Don't abandon your family. Get out of the military if you can. Fake an injury, whatever you have to do, because you're not fighting for America's freedom. This is a satanic agenda. People want to call it a Zionist agenda. It's the same thing. They want to build this tent. They want to genocide the Middle East, build their little temple, and rule the world from there. Okay.
So there's been lots of reports like we're there to steal their oil or their lithium. Do you believe that, or there was a whole range of different issues while we were there?
What it all boils down to is oil and natural resources and money. These are all control mechanisms. If you go deeper, you can't eat oil. You can't eat money. Okay. They've had technology for probably since the 30s or sooner than that to travel with magnetism and things like that Tesla talked about. Okay. They make us, the sheep, use their oil and their gas and their money. It's bigger than that. This is a spiritual thing. It's not a geopolitical thing over the petrodollar or the Chinese yuan. It's bigger than that. Yeah, you can get deep into geopolitics and start talking economics and this and that, but when you go past that and says, who prints the money?
I'm only saying that because that's why most of us don't believe the war on terror, because most people that first get into these things, they believe that we were there to steal the oil, and then you go a bit further, you find out the lithium was coming out of Afghanistan for $1 trillion industry, and it just rolls on from there. So you keep on finding out new things. But I think people, when they first get into these things, they believe it's for the oil, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like people believe that the Building 7 was where the money was being hidden, right? Things like that, like, follow the money. The Department of Defense lost all this money. It's in Building 7, or
well, if it's not the money, then it was the records of the money. Same as the Pentagon. Yeah. Well, I think we're Fed dripped just little tidbits here and there. Whether they're true or not, it's another story. But the Building 7 was definitely brought down for a reason. It was definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
There was a reason they brought it down.
And the amazing thing is, majority of the American public still doesn't know about Building 7.
That was a big one. Do you remember that on the BBC?
5 years ago.
Don't know.
It was only about 5 years ago that they it was only 5% of Americans knew about Building 7. That was only 5 years ago. So I think there's a few more now because it's been really, really pumped, I think. But, yeah, so I'd say it'd be a lot more now. But still, for an American not to know that 3 buildings fell over that day, it's pretty extraordinary.
Yeah. Hey, Earl, you were saying earlier when we were talking during the week that you had some information on Sandy Hook and some of the other. Are you there?
I think we lost him. It would appear so.
Uh-oh.
I think that was going Rob, really well, man.
Yep, amazing stuff.
No, that's a true life account of what's really going on. You know, he's lived these things that we just talk about.
There we go.
There he is. Can you hear us now, Earl?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep. Perfect.
Hey.
All right. So yeah, I mean, people get once you start digging into anything online is completely controlled, but when anyone first starts digging into the truth, they obviously use Google and Wikipedia and things like that. They run into disinfo agents and Alex Jones, and then they get into geopolitics and they think Putin is like against everything, and they fall into that trap, and they think Donald Trump is like a savior. You know what I'm saying? Like they go through steps, but then they start thinking they know about 9/11, and the deepest they go is George Bush and Dick Cheney and the profits that they made with their oil companies, things like that. I mean, it's a limited hangout. Those things are true, but it goes much, much deeper than that.
Earl.
9/11 was one of the largest intelligence operations in our history, probably in history.
Earl, I gotta bring up, man. The other day,
where they install district judges many years in advance. They install Port Authority chairmen. They install attorneys. They own the corporation. Everything they already owned everything. But this is a gradual thing that they do, and people just don't know about that. But once you do start digging into that, you really understand that, and you learn about other false flags in history, and learn that every war in history was based on a false flag or a lie.
Yeah. Earl, can I stop you for a quick second, man?
See, who's behind spreading disinfo and why they're doing it and why they're leading you to a limited hangout, because it's all part of a bigger story, but they want to block you every which way,
James, were you going to say something?
Absolutely. Earl, you mentioned some new information to me about 9/11 the other night.
No, you should.
That was about the George Bush and the book.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about the actual writing on the chalkboard and
Hold on.
information that you told me?
It's bigger than geopolitics and oil.
I don't think he can hear you.
Money, you know?
Earl, can you hear me?
Somehow I knew this wasn't going to go as well as I'd hoped. Earl, so apparently the guys in the hangout are no longer hearing you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
No, we can hear him. He can't hear us.
Ask him
Hear
the
him. He
question,
can't
Josh.
hear us.
Well, I asked him a question earlier and he answered it.
Yeah, it seems to be on the reconnect, Rob.
Hang up and call back in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, why don't you try that? It seems like you can't hear them. They can hear you fine, but somehow I knew it was too good to be true.
Yeah. But basically, to give you guys a sneak, he told me something new about actually the words on the board and that people misunderstood them to think it's plane hit or kite, but it's actually something else. So I thought he should share that.
How's it now?
I think they should.
Hello, Earl. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ah, perfect.
Can you hear me, Earl? James here.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Okay. So what I was trying to say is you hit us with some new 9/11 information the other night when we were hanging. I had actually never heard about the writing on the board, how most people misinterpreted to be plane hit. Can you just share that?
Is this in the school? Is this in the school room, James?
Yes.
The classroom when George Bush was there, when the agent came up and told them the second plane struck. They went on and read a book, and the title of that book was The Pet Goat. Okay, the pet goat is another thing that I can get into symbolically, but for those of you who know anything about Skull and Bones or Freemasonry, that should jump out at you right away that they're reading the pet goat. But on the board, they weren't saying plane, they were saying playing, because the next word after that was kite. It was kite playing. It was kite first and then playing, but it's misrepresented on YouTube as saying plane. So people say, well, oh, what is kite plane hit steel? It's not that. It's kite playing because on 9/11, 2001, in the sky there was a double kite formation. This is a planetary alignment. It's very rare when this alignment happens, but it's important to Jewish mysticism, the Kabbalah, Satanism. This double kite formation, just them saying that over and over again was a ritual is what they were making these children do. But a lot of people make videos say it says playing on the board, so people will debunk that and say, oh, kite playing, it doesn't mean anything. When in reality, kite playing is the most important words in that little chant that they made those children do during the attacks. That was a ritual.
Thanks, Earl. I mean, that just blows my mind even the second time. It's great information. Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty wild once you start digging into what these people do, whether you want to call them Satanists, whether you want to say they're worshiping Saturn, the Kabbalah, regardless, I believe that they harvest energy from people as they're doing this, as they do these blood sacrifices or ritual sacrifices. If they have millions or even billions of people reacting to it at once, if it's an event on TV or something that's a big event happening, everyone's emotions are being drained from that one event. And they believe when they cast, when they're trying to harvest energy, they can do it that way. And it makes whatever they're trying to cast that much more powerful. If there's that many people consciously paying attention to it, and basically they're pulling energy from innocent people that way.
What a lot of people don't realize is the devices they sit in front of daily are actually able to accumulate that energy, if you will. televisions,
I
computers,
believe.
phones.
Have you ever gotten a headache before for spending all day and night on your phone, like you were addicted to it and got a fucking headache?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
everybody knows
yes.
that. I actually use Organite to try to block some of that bad energy, the electromagnetic energy.
Listen, we should just make headbands out of magnets, reverse magnets.
Right.
Go away.
It's right though, isn't it, Earl? It is. I mean, I'm seeing this as well. This harvesting energy sort of thing, and sounds quite woo, but you know, the TV is a perfect tool for that, and things like the Super Bowl and also false flag events. You know, when they're playing things on the TV, everyone that is watching it, it's going out over Twitter, Facebook, everything else. This, I mean, it's getting a collective feeling. I can't say that it's anything other than some sort of harvesting or, like, you know, making this magic spell stronger or something along those lines. Totally agree.
Keeping in mind, we do know that energy and frequencies can be stored in water, and our bodies are 70% water. The planet's 70% water. Just something to think about. Maybe we could cover that another day, but just a thought.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of part of it. I mean, the energy that's directed from you to you, back and forth. I mean, it changes your
Well, in black magic, look at what's called scrying into a black mirror. Do you guys know what scrying is?
right. Or
I sure do. That's
bowl
you're
of
talking
water.
Ordo Templi rituals now.
Shit, did I lose you guys again?
Nope.
No, we heard you. We're aware.
I
Yes, sir.
think
Go
I
ahead.
lost you guys again. Let me call back.
He can't hear us again.
There we go. Well, definitely with water, it's there. He goes. He's back. Go ahead.
It's for you.
Coming.
All right, I'm back.
There we
Can
go.
you hear us?
Hello.
I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know if it's my computer or my internet. I don't know what it is. I supposedly have the best internet that costs $80 a month. So I don't know what's going on here. Yeah.
Leave it to the iron. I step away for 2 minutes and things go south.
Good old Time Warner Cable. Their logo is the Eye of Horus too. I'm not kidding.
I was just saying, Earl, I think you're spot on, you know, from my research and stuff, that this sort of harvesting of energy via the TV, you know, sports events, Super Bowl, false flags, anything, it's a real thing. Whether anyone believes it or not, they believe it.
Exactly. Another thing that I mentioned earlier, in the chat on Twitter with a few people, even on YouTube comments, we were talking about, after a lot of these false flag shootings that were completely fake, that we blew out of the water of being completely fake, why do they have these huge blood drives, these Red Cross blood drives for the supposed victims when there's no victims? So they're harvesting hundreds of gallons of blood. What are they doing with it? Are they drinking it? Are they making clones? It also ties in with Ancestry.com, collecting DNA from everybody. Everyone's already linked into the hive mind and the hive system on the internet, like you said, the TV, all at once. But now they're collecting everyone's blood and everyone's DNA. They have pretty much everyone's DNA on record already.
Right. And one of the things that they're doing now, hey, is for the people that are turning off their TVs, the actual chemtrails and spraying that you're seeing. One of the theories that has come about that resonated with me is that the chemtrails are actually have a double purpose. They actually create alpha waves in the atmosphere. So people who turn their TV off, we still get put into that alpha state of suggestibility. That is quite an interesting angle on chemtrails that I've been told recently.
Yeah, well, a good mixture of chemtrails and chemicals in your food. This will turn you into basically a walking antenna that can be tweaked because your bloodstream, your entire body, it contains these metals and these different poisons that not only you're breathing in but also consuming. So trying to detox yourself of some of these things, it couldn't hurt. But I believe that there are natural remedies for probably almost everything, but most of them are still kept a secret from us.
Yeah, I agree. But
this world already have the antidote to make and breathe freely and eat clean food. It's not like Jacob Rothschild goes to 7-Eleven and buys a bag of Doritos and has a Slurpee and pays with his MasterCard. No, he's having someone make him fresh lobster and organic vegetables. You know what I'm saying?
But James, I mean, nail on the head there. I mean, it's in our environment. I mean, things like smart meters and Wi-Fi routers and this sort of thing. We don't need them necessarily dropping stuff on us in the sky, put us in a beta wave. If it's anything like where you are, if it's anything like where we are, then they're pushing these smart meters everywhere, which are sending out massive amounts of Wi-Fi electromagnetic radiation
and
frequencies.
Vibration. Yeah, frequencies which affect the water in us.
And they're also programmed to do this at the dead of night, like 3 o'clock at night, to send back to base what your energy readings were and everything. So if you're having trouble sleeping, then think about that one.
It's even gotten to the point where recently
the better it is to sleep, though. That's true.
Go ahead, Walt. You had something to say? Sorry.
No, I was just on that same comment about the smart meters. They recently now have installed water meters that are now smart meters, underground water meters that are smart meters that talk to satellites from underground.
Yeah. Add on top of that your radio waves, your mobile phone waves. I mean, we are literally in a
microwave
cell phone towers, radio towers. I mean, here in Oregon, there's towers everywhere because of the mountains. There's a tower literally every direction you look. There's a tower on a building, on a hill, on a top of another tower.
They like to put them into school playgrounds in this country.
Yes, they are right over like buildings where people are eating, right over where kids are in school.
And on top of hospitals, it is literally, it looks like a game of Jenga on top of the hospital.
Plus, aren't they designing them better, like kind of blending them in with urban camo? I've
disguising them as trees.
Here in Oregon, they have them as trees. I've seen 3 of them. I was like,
and in the UK, they have some neat design too.
Cacti as well. Yeah, trees and things over here. Yeah,
just wild.
Curious thing about that, I think, would be, I think they have the ability to send signals through these things that could not only maybe kill people, it could fry your brain like you're in a microwave for all we know.
That's what I heard, Earl. They're actually microwave weapons.
Transmits high-pitched noises or pain in your head or something like that. I feel like they could use these towers as weapons, because if you know anything about directed energy weapons, not only do they work on electronics, but they work on people. They even have heart attack guns where you can give a guy a heart attack from a quarter mile away.
Nice needle.
Did you ever see that film? What was it? TH
show? We already know.
I don't think you can hear us anymore, John.
I don't think you can either.
Yeah, I just put that together.
That George Lucas film.
50 years ago and said, "Oh, we just found out how to do it." Means they've known how to do it for way longer than that, but it's just scary thinking that they could use these as weapons and literally take control of people with these towers if this stuff is all in our bodies and in our brains already.
Earl, can you hear everybody all right?
I can hear you right now.
All right. Somebody give us shout-outs. Make sure Earl can still hear everyone.
You hear me, Earl?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, all right. Sweet.
Good.
Hello, Earl.
So, Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Cool. Yeah, we're just checking.
Hello, Earl. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. But yeah, directed energy weapons, that's a freaky thing to look into, but I believe it's all tied into this, what people have in their bodies, the towers, the Wi-Fi, everything. Everyone's connected, like biometrically almost already. But their next step, if you actually read Trump's executive order, it was squeezed into the travel ban executive order, saying they're going to fast track biometric scanning for everyone entering and exiting the United States, including Americans. So this means they're fast tracking everyone to be biometrically scanned. So I think they're going to reveal this after the next 9/11 happens, because the sheeple are going to be begging for it, for more security. But just like I was saying the other day, I'm not even allowed to travel to Canada because I had a DWI 5 years ago. I got caught driving in Buffalo after having a few beers, but I'm banned from Canada forever. So it's almost like they're blocking us in here.
Well, Earl,
they're going to welcome this biometric thing.
It's already law that you have to give your fingerprint when entering the US. This is why I can't go to the US. And that's biometric.
Wow.
There you go.
Still, it's a little insane that, I can't meet my best friend's father because he lives in Canada. He has a house in Canada, but he's an American. So if he came back here, he wouldn't be able to go back to his property in Canada because he has a DWI from 20 years ago.
Unbelievable, isn't it? But yeah, the US already has a policy that you have to give your thumbprint or, your fingerprints over on entry to the country. So that, and numerous other countries have got that now. Singapore, Burma, I think, numerous other countries. You have to give over biometrics or you can't get off the plane. So yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, I think I lost you.
You didn't hear that?
Are you still there?
Yeah, we're here. Are you hearing us? He's about to drop again, probably.
You guys hearing me?
I hear everybody here fine. I think he's about to drop usually when we stop hearing him.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I hear you.
Okay, he's good. He says he hears us.
But
I think there's a lag.
It just made me think of this. Obviously after they pulled the next 9/11, and I'm almost convinced it's going to happen during Trump's first term. If it doesn't, I'd be completely amazed. I'd be happy about it, but I think during Trump's first term is when they're going to pull the next 9. But I think it's going to be bigger than 9/11. This is not fear porn. This is just connecting the dots and saying it's time. They are ready to do this. Okay.
Did they do 9/11 2001 in the first term of, what was it, Bush?
Yes, it was.
I think it was his first term. Yeah.
Great reference, John.
His first term, and then he got on the megaphone. I think it was his first year of his first term. And then he got on the megaphone and said, "You're either with us or with them." And Americans just believed the story. Like,
that bought him 8 years right there. That line, that whole day bought him. Yeah.
And if you remember, they he did a press conference from the golf course, and he made a like a gripping little speech there. Then he goes, "Now everyone watch this shot," and walked over there and took his golf shot. Now
who was that?
He's mocking him. Bush. They interviewed him on the golf course just after, and he's saying, we've got to do this and we've got to do that and blah.
That's
blah,
like
blah.
when he lands on the aircraft carrier with his codpiece saying, "We
costume,
we succeeded," or something.
Rob was explaining.
Mission accomplished. His big boy pants on.
Yeah, it was a joke.
But it's like Donald Trump eating a piece of chocolate cake after he bombed Syria.
whilst meeting with the Chinese president. He did it. He bombed Syria while he was in a meeting with the Chinese president, apparently. And there's a lot of geopolitics going on there. Sorry, Earl, missed that. I think we've got a bit of a lag.
I think this whole agenda that they're pushing out now on the brainwashing machine about all these incidents with the airlines, people being attacked at airports, people being dragged off of planes. I think this is all part of conditioning the masses to not only show them that the airline is Big Brother, but that flying and airports are getting too dangerous. Okay, they're pushing that narrative again.
Well, even walking down the street is dangerous these days because anyone in a car is a weapon.
Privilege, they're gonna, or not a right, it's a privilege, they're gonna say, and I believe that they're gonna make everybody get a license to fly. Like, not everyone's going to be able to book a flight anymore. This is just me speculating, but I mean, looking at the shit that they did to us with the Patriot Act and whatnot, it's all planned ahead of time. I believe that could be a reason why they're showing all of these incidents at airports and all of these things happening, because they're getting ready to do something with the airlines as far as people traveling. But that they're going to need a new 9/11 event to be able to get away with that without people, most of the population complaining about it.
I was thinking about this the other day, the idea of a new 9/11 event with Trump in office, and why maybe he was put there, because he's got to be that useful idiot.
That guy, and he would be that guy because there's millions of Trump supporters that would rally behind him, and they would send their sons and daughters to fight and die. A bunch of red hat Trump fans would line up at the recruiting station, even if he installed the draft. There's still a majority of brain dead Americans that are clueless to what's going on, and they think Donald Trump is a great guy still. They have no idea what's happening. But looking at his ties, he just invited the head of the Israeli Mossad to the White House. Okay, this is the head of the terror organization that blew up the World Trade Center, and he invites him to the White House, and the sheeple applaud him. He's filled the White House with Mossad assets, with Rothschild Incorporated. Jared Kushner has slumber parties with Ehud Barak, former PM of Israel. I mean, his entire cabinet is made up of Zionist psychopaths, some of whom penned the Project for a New American Century before 9/11 and penned the Patriot Act. Michael Chertoff being another one, an Israeli national, head of the Justice Department on 9/11, then Bush awarded him the position of Department of Homeland Security right after 9/11, right after he released over 100 Israeli Mossad terror suspects that were caught by NYPD, and he let them home to Israel, no questions asked, and destroyed their files. I'm getting off on a rant here, but I forgot what I was even talking about before that, to be honest.
Well, it was a very informative rant. You definitely gave us some interesting points there.
So, I mean, yeah, if you wanted to get into the Mossad and 9/11, I mean, I could talk your ear off for hours, but we're already all on the same page with 9/11, who did it and why.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the exercises in the States? Jade Helm was a while ago, but can you tell us what you see happening in terms of the actual units in the U.S. on the ground right now?
Yeah, basically, hold on one second. My dad's calling me. Let me shut my phone off.
Happy Father's Day, Dad.
Jade Helm was a very I want to say public event as far as it was pushed into the alternative media purposely. You got guys like Alex Jones, people talking about Jade Helm, putting all kinds of falsehoods in there about it and making it look ridiculous to anyone who actually tries to look into it, and they just go to Snopes and debunk it. Basically, what's been happening since that I know of, this has been going on longer than the 80s, but Rex 84, the Rex 84 program, when the United States started closing down military bases across the country, a certain amount of bases, whether they be reserve or active, they would close them down every year. They've been doing this since 1984. These bases are no longer considered American property. They're under UN. The UN owns the land, almost like it was an embassy. China has actually bought most of the land in the United States. Surprisingly, they own almost 90% of land in the United States. But again, this is under the UN banner. So they've not only been able to bring these troops to the United States since the 1980s, probably sooner. But what I can prove is from the 80s. Anyone who looks into this. Basically, these are they're military personnel from foreign countries, okay, but they fall under the UN banner. It doesn't mean that they wear a blue helmet and drive around UN vehicles. It just means that they're under UN command. They might give them a patch to wear or something, but that's about it. But they've been allowed to come and train in the United States and Canada.
How many bases how many are we talking here if they've been doing this since 84?
Rex 84 is what I'm talking about now. And yes, I can prove, I can prove to you that they've been bringing troops here since 1984. Another thing too, it's weird. The book 1984 just popped in my head too. Like there's something about this year, 84. You know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking when you said it.
These troops are trained by the United States military. You can ask a lot of veterans, even older veterans, even in my short term in the military. I did spend 4 years in the Guard and 3 active, but within my short time, I had the opportunity to train with a multitude of foreign forces multiple times on U.S. soil as well. What we're just told is a coalition mission, and that's just all it is, like a peacekeeping joint training mission. But once you start getting into these events that have been happening, like in 2014, they had GridX, where they had Russian and Chinese forces being trained by Special Forces Group 7 in the United States with DHS and FEMA, and they were mocking a grid down scenario in the United States. They also, for Jade Helm 15, they build what's called mout cities. A mout city is a mock city that is built to where soldiers train in before they deploy somewhere. So before we deployed to Afghanistan, they would build mock villages and cities of where we were going to fight. Well, during Jade Helm and GridX, and then UX-16, all of these mout scenarios were recreated, American cities and Canadian cities and towns in urban environments in the United States and Canada. Once you start going into UX-16 and looking into their actual mission brief and what they were doing and where they were doing it, it all aligns with Rex 84 and where all of these bases are that they've been closing down since the 80s. None of these places are accessible to the normal person. You can't just drive up to a Rex 84 base. A lot of these places, these bases are so far out in the middle of nowhere. Even Fort Hood itself has its own zip code because it's so huge. But there's so much wilderness in the 25th Mountain Division, upstate New York, in the mountains. I mean, there's acres upon acres of wilderness, thousands of miles of wilderness for some of these bases. Old bases are used. And not only do these soldiers train there and live there, they actually have an active base with a PX, a commissary, a gym, all that. But you can't find it on Google Earth and you can't go there. The only people that know about this are people that trained with DHS or FEMA or with Special Forces Group 7 that I know of that can actually confirm this. But looking at the players involved in this, you got Russian GRU forces, China's People Liberation Special Forces, Spetsnaz GRU, like I said before, SOCOM 7, FEMA. I mean, and you're looking at what they're doing, training missions. Let's see here. Resettlement and detainment operations. I mean, you just go, I mean, they're telling you what they're getting ready to do. All right. They're telling you exactly what they're training for and getting ready to do. The only question is when they're going to do it.
On the Rex 84, isn't part of that the whole FEMA camps thing? I know they tried to couch it in like if there was a big mass exodus of illegal aliens or something, then that was their reasoning behind it. But that they set up about what I know it's like 500 or 600 camps in the U.S. that are ready to go.
Yeah, that would be your. That's tied into Rex 84.
Yeah,
all these military bases that have been being used by them, they're going to be turned. Also, many of them into internment camps. I mean, they're already established bases, but they've done this already. The U.S. government
is done, right? They're there waiting.
With citizens of World War II. Okay, and it's not talked about. They've already done this. We've already had presidents. President Eisenhower committed genocide, his own little personal genocide, on 1.2 million Germans after World War II. He put them in an open air camp with guards and let them starve. He murdered them. But there was millions of Americans that were put into these camps across America, and you're not taught about it in your history books for a reason. All of these things are in place. They've done it before, and they're getting ready to do it again. And it's the same people that did it back in the past. It's the same bloodline of people that are ruling us, and they're going to commit this gulag again. But it's going to start in America.
That's scary stuff. I mean, that's the kind of thing that really kind of makes you want to snuggle in bed and curl up and just hide.
Yeah. I mean, it's not fun to talk about, but it's just the fact that this is all here and they're showing us what they're doing step by step, the players involved, the executive orders they've passed. I mean, FEMA itself, just reading those executive orders, FEMA was put in place as a continuity of government. That is the sole purpose of FEMA, is not to help people in natural disasters when they show up and throw a bag of Doritos at you. This is about a government continuation, and they're going to have all these new law, everything. I mean, just reading those is scary, but the fact of the matter is just knowing about it and knowing what they're getting ready to do, and just, live your life. Don't be scared, but just be prepared for what's coming down the pipe. That's all.
That's it.
Indeed.
Well, let's take a little break, and we'll come back with a little more Rex 84 and the continuity of government discussion and kind of the way that the New World Order is creeping in to every walk of life. My name is Josh Corey. This is IronRealmMedia with the Flat Earth Friday FRINGE-CAST. We'll be back right after this.
be under UN command. So once a big false flag happens, they could say they can send the rest of our boys to Iran and the rest of them across Syria or the Middle East, and just they'll be under UN command. And these foreign forces that are on our soil are already under UN command. So basically, this is all in U.S. code books. Again, I include this in my blog, and you can actually go to a library and read U.S. code books. The blueprint for the peace race.
Earl, where can we find your blog? Sorry, where can we find your blog?
But you can actually go and look this up in code books for yourself. It explains this plan. It explains how many troops each country is going to have before they transfer all their troops to the UN. Russia and China are already they're sharing the Security Council of the United Nations. So it's perfect timing for all of this to happen. And it'll be a scripted, the average person will think it's a world war, but all of these countries were in on it together, and they're selling out their own people.
So you are not with the right wing or the left wing. So why don't you tell everybody where they can find your blog?
You could go to nowingradical3.blogspot.com. There's, I think, 5 or 6 different posts, but to see all of them, you have to go down to the blue arrow on the bottom right and click on next to see all of my posts. But like I was explaining the UN peace race and the code books, you could actually, there's instructions for you to go to a library and look that up and prove that this law exists and that this plan exists and that they are actually implementing this as we speak. Basically it's just going to be, it could be by a stroke of a pen overnight that our entire military doesn't exist. It's not going to exist anymore. It's going to be under UN control and deployed all over the world.
Hey, Earl, you also do something very neat with paper. Can you tell us how that campaign of yours that you thought of is going, and tell us a little bit about how you came up with the idea?
Are you talking about the truth bombs?
Yep, I am. I sure am.
Okay, so this idea just popped in my head one day. I was going to start printing out flyers. I would put pictures and things on there to grab people's attention, but I include whether they be strange laws, crazy things, 9/11 truth, just really anything that's true that people should know that they don't know. I put these flyers together, and the last project I did, I went to the supermarket and where they have the advertisement on the carts, I pasted a bunch of these where the advertisements went. Sometimes I fold them up and I'll stick them in people's back pockets or throw them in their car if their windows roll down. Or I'll paste one to a piece of cardboard, put duct tape on it, and put it in an elevator, a busy elevator at the hospital, so people read it while they're riding the elevator, with different links to books and things on there. Just leaving them or handing them out, stuffing them in newspapers, things like that. I mean, you can get creative with it. It's pretty fun.
Oh, awesome.
I think simple.
That's brilliant. That's what we need, is that simplicity. It's just so easy that anybody can.
Yeah, anybody can do it. But I'm going to make more. I've only made 2 so far, but I include links where you can just click on it for free and just print it out if you have a printer and make copies. I mean, I went to the library and they had 10-cent copies at the library, so I made a ton of them. And I just get creative with it. Like I said, I'll leave them under windshield wipers or random places for people to find.
That's awesome.
We had a good idea the other night about future possible, event or something, and do a whole truth bomb party.
Yeah, with the projector and showing videos, we could put clips together. Make things to draw people's attention, but just hand out free tickets for people and see how many people show up. I mean, it could be something huge. If not, no big deal. We're still, doing something, and it could be fun. It could, you could turn it into fun. It could be a hobby, but you're actually, we can make somewhat of a difference, even if we wake up a handful of people. I mean, that's the reason we're doing this, right? I mean, can't wake everybody up, but we can still wake up a few people.
And well, yeah, we definitely can't waken everyone, but I think we're getting a pretty good audience as far as flat earthers go. Maybe not us specifically, but as far as flat earthers go, I think we get a pretty good audience. I think we've done a whole lot to wake people up.
Yeah. Well, see, the good thing about flat earthers is, you know, I haven't really met a flat earther that isn't awake to everything else. Do you know what I mean? They're already awake to the entire New World Order agenda and it being satanic and everything, you know. They already know that.
Right, exactly. It's kind of the thing that people are like, well, what does it matter if the Earth's flat or not? It's kind of the big lie that holds all the rest of these lies together. If they can lie about the basic element of where you live, they can pull the wool over your eyes about everything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. It's the strongest brainwashing. It starts from the very first day. I mean, the first day you turn on a television in front of a toddler, the first time they walk into a classroom, first thing they see is that spinning globe and they hear all the lies. You know, they don't realize that all these people that made these lies were all Satanists. They were all into the dark arts. They were all occultists. Every single one of them were.
You are correct.
You know, if you grew up your entire life knowing and thinking the earth was flat, and then somebody told you it was a spinning globe hurling through outer space, you would think that's the stupidest thing you've ever heard.
Yeah, you would actually think it's stupider than thinking that the earth is flat when we're told it's a ball. That's actually even stupider to me.
Yeah. But you've been conditioned to think that flat is impossible, you know, so it's just completely reversed. But it's incredible. You know, even for me, it was a hard breakthrough. And my brother-in-law was the one that started me on the flat earth. And I thought it was just a distraction at first. But once he started asking me more and more questions that made me question it, that's when I had my breakthrough. So sometimes it takes bits and pieces here.
So are
and
you
there.
saying, Earl, 100% as a military, U.S. military veteran, seen a lot, well-traveled, are you flat? You're a flat earther?
Yeah, I'm a flat earther, 100% flat earther. 1,000%.
It's just always nice to hear.
It's just such a simple thing to understand once you get past the anger of, you know, you get angry, you want to attack. People want to, it makes them something in their brain, because I experienced it too. I used to be completely brainwashed by the system. I was so brainwashed that I went and fought to defend it. Okay. But once you get past the anger stage, then you can actually start to learn and actually open your eyes. You have to get past being angry about everything being fake. Because literally everything we have ever been taught, everything is a lie. Everything. So that's hard to get over. But once you do, then you can actually open your eyes completely.
Can I just say something at this point and just point out that while I've been watching anyway, the most we've been getting up to on IronRealmMedia is 24 views. Now, we've had numerous mentions this week. I mean, we've been on Globebusters, Antonio Subaret's Ball on the Plane. I mean, someone even dedicated making a video of yours, James. It was 7 Day Adventist or something. You know, don't we find this funny? I mean, I'm looking at it now. There's 17 people watching. What do we make of that?
It goes to me, John. It just speaks to RFB. Actually, Richie from Boston put out a video a month or 3 weeks ago. And he said that he's found out that they actually blast YouTube on Fridays at a certain time, maybe probably around 11 if I'm going to blast it, until Sunday to get rid of little channels like us. So we are practically invisible now. We're the greatest show you've never heard of, as usual.
Well, considering, you know, last week we had Patricia Steer watching, we've had Bob watching, we've had the Morgar contact us, we've had this, that and the other.
Well,
it just seems a little bit odd.
Perspective, John. In the last 28 days, we have increased by 303 subscribers.
Which is probably about 500%.
Right. And we've got 17 watching right now. So, granted, I mean, it's been that way.
It's funny, isn't it?
It's kind of bizarre. I really expected at least 50 or so today.
I mean, especially when a recording, a pre-recorded live Flat Earth channel has 400 at any given time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, if we have way over 24 hours worth of footage, and we could start our own 24 hour, would we get 400 viewers at any one time? I highly doubt it. Highly doubtful.
I've sent out numerous links to the live show today. I mean, it's, you know.
I made my weekly video. I made a big plug for the show.
Right, telling everybody Earl would be here.
Right. But your weekly video, James, was taken up and re-uploaded and reinvented by, who was it? Taboo Conspiracy, who's massive.
Somebody else talking about it. I mean, and you know what's funny, John? This is weird. Okay, this is weird. You guys know I've been pumping out videos every week. Every Thursday, I put out a video. This video I put out with this smacker of new information has the lowest views of anything I've ever put out. It's hilarious, and it has the best info of anything I put out.
Yep, it's very strange. I mean, I'm used to coming back on Twitter and, you know, regularly, you know, leaving it for 2 or 3 hours, go walk the dog or whatever, and having 200 notifications when I get back. You know, lately I'm getting 1, 3, 5. I mean, yeah, interesting stuff.
Very interesting.
I'm not saying anything weird's going on. I'm just saying, you know, I mean, come on.
You're not paranoid. You're just watching too many YouTube videos.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Well, forward, ever forward, gents. We just keep moving forward as the realm.
That's it. One foot in front of the other, regardless of who's watching.
Right. Yeah. Or whose foot it is, even.
Yeah. And I was just as a personal note, just to everybody listening and all the guys, there's been so much negativity and hurt and fighting and just bad energy, whether it's spells that time of year or just like people feeling the weight of all the arguing and the crap going on in the internal Flat Earth community. I made a little slideshow that Josh is going to play at the end, but I think it's a much needed message. There's a lot of pain going on in Flat Earth from what I feel, and I'm a feeler, so hopefully you guys can get a boost later when Josh plays this.
You might need to shoot me that link for all those pictures too for that slideshow.
It's in the links.
Cool. I'll look forward to that, James. Definitely. Because I'm feeling it as well. There's a disturbance in the force, isn't there? There's something going on.
Yeah.
It actually, I think, might tie back into what we were speaking about earlier with Earl about the energy and the energy gathering, and just they're definitely gearing up for something, increasing the crazy waves, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely an interesting time with the energy right now.
It certainly is an interesting time, especially when you look at it, you know, spiritually, where we stand in time right now. It's a very significant time, and like we were talking about astrology earlier, the people who control this world, they worship their gods and goddesses in the sky. They worship constellations and their so-called planets, which I believe to be wandering stars. But they worship these deities, and certain times when their deities align in the sky are very important to them. And that's also, we're approaching that rapidly, but you can feel it in the air that they're gearing up for something. They're having a fake shooting almost every day now. They're having some sort of fake shooting or fake terror attack. You could just feel they're building up they're already harvesting the energy, and they're getting up for a grand climax. Simply. it's anyone's guess when they're going to do it, but I could feel it in my bones. Can't you?
Unfortunately, yes, it's definitely happening soon, or it's definitely building to something. It may not be the big one yet, but they're definitely building towards something.
Yeah, I agree.
And then
I
being
think
here amongst the mountains, it's a whole different energy for me. When I come here, it's usually a very peaceful time, a peaceful place. Everything's usually very chilled here. And this time, it is a completely different vibe. The energy every time we leave the house and go out into this area, which used to be filled with just peaceful people, almost like all the hippies came to Oregon. Now it's just, I don't know if it was the influx of the cannabis industry that brought a lot of outside people in. I don't know if it was just the general, just too many people wanting to come here and chill, but it is just madness here. You can't go anywhere that doesn't take you 25, 30 minutes, and it's 2 miles down the road. Traffic is crazy. The energy is crazy. People are rude in the street. There's always protests going on downtown. Paul said there's always somebody with a sign up or whatever, and it used to be okay, but now the local people are upset because they're late for work. They're late for lunch. They're trying to do their lives, and these people are interfering. So there's people pulling punches and guns, and it's kind of getting hectic.
Well, that's
I
the
agree.
gentrification of the urban areas. Once you start bringing that money back into the city, you're going to cause all that tension with the low-income families that have been having to struggle to survive. And then in walks all this new money, and the price of everything goes up. So now they can't afford to exist anymore because all these rich white hipsters came in and are screwing up the economy.
Yeah, it's impossible to find property here. Rental is through the roof. I mean, it's pretty bad. It really is. And like you said, the hipster influx definitely did not help.
Colorado's the same way. The cost of living in Colorado has skyrocketed since the cannabis industry took off there. It's crazy.
Yeah. But just that vibe in the air, though. I mean, I've even spoken to, a friend of mine that doesn't even believe in God, and he thinks the New World Order is all made up. I mean, he's completely asleep, but even he told me that he feels different and feels off this year. He feels something weird in the air. And I told him he's not the only one, and that it's for a reason, even though he refuses to admit that. But there's something going on where there's, I don't want to say a shift in consciousness. Maybe I could label it as a shift in consciousness, but there's something that everyone is spiritually being affected by right now, whether it be negatively, positively, or both. But I feel like it's in the, even people that want to deny things that are going on, they deep down inside, they feel something's a little off.
I think spiritual lines are being drawn, and they know it. They feel it deep in their soul, and they know that they either have to make a choice, and it's something they never had to face before.
Yep. And they have to choose wisely.
Yeah. I mean,
they must choose wisely.
Exactly. People who are like us who are aware of this, we're dealing with it it's already overwhelming us. So imagine someone who isn't even looking at this type of thing, and they're being hit with all these energies and all these, frequencies. I'm sure the average person is just losing it. That's why things are so hectic.
Yeah. How about me throwing a spanner in the works and just saying, what about whether this is contrived? Is it possible to create this amount of energy by getting enough people to, cast spells together or put this energy out? I.e., could this sort of feeling that all of us are undoubtedly feeling is, end times coming, something's brewing, it's getting to the point. Is there any way that this can be contrived and put upon us when it's not actually the case?
Yes, I believe that it could be put on us. I believe that most people that, yes, we are all tied into the system and the internet and the hive mind, and like we were talking about, energy weapons, all these different types of things that they can use with the technology and they even claim they can transfer consciousness, all this crazy stuff, the transhumanism, all of it. yes, it was created by man, but I believe it was spiritually all of this was supposed to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's it's almost prophesized, isn't it?
Trying to make us feel this way, but I believe that this was already planned for them to do this.
I'm just wondering if they wrote the book, then they're going to make it come true, and that could be contrived so that we all think it's all coming true. I don't know how to say it any. Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but even what I'm saying is, even though all these psychopaths contrived this plan, okay, since the beginning of time, you can either believe that, okay, this is just man on his own free will that made all this happen and tricked us into being the end times, and it's really not, or spiritually something is behind these people that's making them do this.
Yeah,
whether or not
I see it from both sides, yeah.
You know?
Mm. Yeah, it's hard to tell, isn't it? I mean, I completely agree. You know, we're sort of sat here and seeing or feeling the momentum build, and the crescendo is so close. You know, I would have said it was 3 years ago.
Mm.
You know, 2012, I would have said, yeah, come on, this is it. It's something's got to happen. But, you know, we're still here in 2017, and it's hard to wonder whether we're being played like fiddles, as we've always been.
Or are we really here in 2017? Did they really do whatever it was in 2012, and that's this whole Mandela effect? Is us all stuck in the machine they transferred us into?
Ooh, like it.
Ooh, that is crazy.
The transition point. Sorry, go ahead.
Have a false awakening in 2014, 2015 time frame, almost like a scripted awakening, to where there was an influx of truther channels on YouTube, things being shared, to where it led people to dive into these false predictions, like Obama being the last president and martial law going to be declared 100% and this and that, and World War III is going to start definitely now.
The FEMA camps and the
FEMA camp videos and all that. That's huge. I believe that was a plan from the get-go, because they wanted to make it look so huge, like everyone was saying September 23rd, 2015, and then have nothing happen again. This is an effective way of doing what's called cried wolf syndrome, to where you cry wolf so many times, people say, you're full of shit. You know, my crazy family member shared all these YouTube videos with me and saved all these rice and beans, and look, he was wrong, nothing happened. So even more people go back to sleep because they were duped into this fake, you know, this roadblock
over and over.
Y2K 99
2012.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much
the next one is the Daniel prophecy 2017 September. Here we go again.
So I mean, regardless, if nothing huge happens this year and it happens a year down the line, I just feel like there's big pieces in play right now. A lot of huge things have happened. I just don't see us getting through a Trump presidency without something huge happening. So it could be a year, it could be at the end of his fourth year. We don't know, but it's just, if we get through a Trump first term, I mean, I'll be so happy that I had just even a couple more years, not to live in complete shit, for whatever they have in store for us. So every year that they give us, fine, so be it, but we can't live our life every day, running around saying the world's ending. But, I definitely feel this generation, something big's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think something big is on the horizon.
So, you know, I can't let it control us, but like we said before, it's nice to have other people to vent to about this stuff that don't think you're crazy. It goes with anything, you know?
Right. So, Earl, is there anything you kind of want to wrap up or say that's really important to you and your message and what you plan to do in the future?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, if you're a young man that listens to this and you're thinking about joining the military, please contact me. Let me talk to you about this decision that you're thinking about making. I'm not saying I'm going to guarantee to talk you out of it, but there's just a lot of things that I'd like to share with you. So if there's a young man or woman thinking of joining the military, please contact me. You can email me, jbravo744@yahoo.com. My blog, No Wing Radical 3 at blogspot.com. What else? It was nice talking to all you guys. You know, if you want to chat more, like I said, you can email me, and I'm always open to talk.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for showing up here and sharing some very deep personal stuff. And hopefully you plant some seeds out there, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're so glad you came on.
So
we got so much info. That's really good stuff. And it wasn't all flat Earth. And
it was great.
We are just as appreciative of all the info, even though it wasn't flat Earth. Again, we got together through flat Earth, but we are definitely not necessarily a strictly flat Earth only show.
Okay, cool. I was really glad to be here tonight. I'm looking forward to the next time.
Yeah, appreciate that, Earl. Thanks a lot.
All right, see you guys.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
That was some great stuff. Great stuff.
That was really
Absolutely.
Good. Right, moving on.
Enough, I was catching up on the. No, it's fine. I was trying to catch up on the chat here. I see that a few people are talking about the whole blacklisted thing. Wake the Sheeple is telling us that he himself has shared our hangout with well over 1,000 people, and personally knows of 3 friends right now that said they don't see us live anywhere.
Yeah, I saw that as well. I was going to comment on that. Yeah. 1,000 people, crazy. Yeah, spot on. Well done.
Well, the fact that 3 of them can't find us. I mean, I've tweeted it live to people. I've sent it to friends, and he's saying he's got 3 that can't even find it. So, yeah.
Never more than 25 ever I've seen. Even when we had Sargent on, for crying out loud. I think we had, 30 was the max?
I saw 25 tonight, yeah. And, yeah, that was Wake the Sheeple. Shout out to DD and Alba, Old Faithfuls, thank you very much. And anyone else in the chat, I don't get to see it too much, so thanks to everyone.
As well.
Yeah.
And Wendy Blank.
Wendy Blank. Go ahead, Josh. Yes, I was going to mention her. Go ahead.
No, she's been really active in chat tonight and really appreciate it. I hopped on and shared a couple of her tweets. She actually tweeted out earlier the things that Google and YouTube are doing. So I went ahead and shared that one too. So you can just check out Wendy Blank's page on Twitter or check out IronRealmMedia where we retweeted her stuff there. I see Cander's in here. Trippy McGee is in here.
Cander's actually mentioned another way that they shadow ban us. Do you know how you subscribe to notifications? So when we go live, our subscribers on YouTube should get a notification. Xander is saying he didn't see a notification for today. That's just another way they ban us.
That's insane. We need to do a show away from the weekend and avoid some of that overall thing they do for the weekend, like you were talking about, Richie was talking about.
We've been tossing around the idea of a midweek Iron Realm show for a while, and I would just be so curious to even see what the numbers would be. Could you imagine we got 80 or 100?
Right. Let's see what we can throw together this week, guys.
We also need to mention Kim Kardashian's arse at the very start of the show. So
we started with that, dang it.
Yep.
Dang, we missed that one, didn't we?
Game of Thrones.
Well, we had enough football and other crap earlier, so there you go. Adam, you're very quiet.
Hey, Rob has some jokes today to share with us, too, that are awesome.
Oh, God,
Stan's in the chat as well. Stan shared some awesome stuff with us during the week.
Somebody have a bicycle wheel that's really squeaky or something?
I don't know. I've never been a big fan of Kanye West, though. So if you guys want to talk about Kim Kardashian's ass, you go right ahead.
Yeah.
Is that bicycle wheel and Kim Kardashian's ass some sort of joke I'm missing?
There it is again.
I don't think so, John. I think that's just a horrible, horrible coincidence.
Did you hear that?
I do hear it, though. It does sound like
Yeah, I keep hearing that.
like a creepy clown on a straight.
I was muted.
I need everybody to mute so we can isolate that.
I'm muted now.
Gripping television.
Right. Look, everybody's muted. The entire
Yeah.
show went silent, and
Yep,
nobody
yep.
can hear a bicycle wheel.
Yeah.
I guess somebody should stay unmuted in case it's them, and we'll know. There it is. It's a dog whistle.
I think it was muffled by Kim Kardashian's ass.
I think it's you, John, because
It is you, John.
What are you hearing? A whistling.
high pitch. Yeah.
It's very good annoying.
You got a whistle or something back there?
If I did, I'd hear it, but no.
All right.
Let
I
me
think
mute then and tell me if it stops.
I don't hear any whistling.
I hear nothing.
But I think a lot of the people that did tune in today are probably pretty curious about John Brahma. Because I guess everybody really kind of caught on to the story here recently. So they're not too familiar with the difficulties we have with communicating with John. So it's not like we get weekly updates. But he started IronRealmMedia as a way for us to vent and a way to create a platform to get other people like Earl, who's a follower of ours on Twitter, to get him on, to let him vent and talk and get all this stuff externalized and to help him get a better grip on all of it. And that's really where we were coming from and why we wanted to do what we're doing now. Which brings me to John Brahma. John Brahma is a flat earther. We are here to give a voice to flat earthers. So when we have John Brahma on, we're not saying you need to donate money to this guy so that he gets his $1 million. We are giving a voice. And that's essentially all we are trying to do is give him that voice. So we've not really heard anything back from John as of late. And it's so hard because everything he does is routed through security and proxies and VPNs. And if he's not on his home computer, his home base computer, we'll call it, the one that is secure, he doesn't do a whole lot of communicating because he doesn't want to get tracked down. He says these things that he wants to share are life-threatening. They will kill him for speaking this. So he tries to be very, very conscious of where he is.
Sounds all cloak and dagger, Josh.
It does sound very cloak and dagger. Which,
So we haven't heard anything, though.
No, nothing new.
Maybe they found the 10 people.
Well, again, because of the way he does communicate, it's not always easiest to get an answer that's very cut and dried.
All I got this week, Josh, was open. Oh, because I was set up to try and talk to him this week, but all I got was, "Hi Adam, sorry, really busy. Just saw your messages. Plus, I've got to travel again, so I'll have to do a rain check." And that was Monday. I've had a couple of texts since, just with a couple of questions that he's going to get in touch with John the Morgile at some point. I think he's been in touch with him. But other than that, that's kind of no other update from me.
And the way I understand it, he is really trying to limit his exposure. So it's not like he's out there trying to get on Globebusters or Patricia Steer's Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. He's not necessarily looking to get the exposure. He was wanting to get the word out. And we are the ones that sort of responded to his call. We definitely were not the first people he called, but we were the ones who answered. And that puts us in a very precarious situation as sort of being the tip of the spear for this info. So we are saddled with the idea that we are given information, but not all of that information will we always be able to pass along, just due to the nature of what he says is this major threat. So if he says, hey, this is what's going, but I don't really want that stuff out there, then we are sort of obligated to not. And the precariousness of that situation is that now we could be labeled as gatekeeping shills, refusing to pass along the truth. And it's not that we would refuse truth when we know it, but if we can't prove it to be true, or if we told someone else that it was, off the record, that we weren't going to share it with everyone else, then we are obligated to keep it to ourselves. That said, I have no information that I am not divulging.
Right.
I've told
what about the picture? I keep getting asked this week about the actual Edge picture. So did we get any more info on that? I know we were going to send it to somebody and try and get it in more detail. Any update on the picture, Josh?
Not that I've heard. Last I heard, we were still trying to get raw data from John Brahma, because the error level analysis that we ran didn't show any real metadata in there. And it had at least a slight loss of quality, so we can assume it wasn't the original, or at least a link to the original, which is really what we want.
John the Morgal implied he would look at it himself. When we talked to him, we sent it to him, and he would pass it along to his team, to Jaron, that seems to have a little bit more, history with doing these picture processes. But as far as getting a better quality one, I don't know. So far, no word on that as far as an affirmative anyway, for sure. So we haven't heard that it's headed our way or anything. Not yet.
Not yet. I will actually, right now, I'm going to text the Morgile and see if he has heard anything. I've made the mistake of trying to message him on Skype a couple times. And
I was going to say, Skype seems to be a last check for a lot of people. They don't use it regularly, and then suddenly it's like, oh, this message has been here 5 days. We apologize for getting back to you so late. So, yeah, it's definitely...
Adam's list, too, had something about that, just to kind of pivot here a bit or switch gears, was with all the fighting still, eh? What do you guys make of that? There's so much infighting right now. Why?
That's a good question. And maybe it is because we've been sort of minimized for 2 years. Where after 2 years, our numbers are growing, but we still have a lot of people that are just putting up with this nonsense arguments. And until we can actually put a face and get that one common enemy that everyone can agree that, okay, this is going to be our focus, this is who we are fighting against, there's bound to be that infighting, because there's that level of frustration that just builds and builds and builds, and people tend to take it out on the closest thing. So if you're a domer and nobody's listening to you tell them about the dome, you go and you find an infinite planar and you tell him about the dome. And that tends to spark some lively debates amongst the flat earthers. As far as like personal drama, I've not really seen too much of that as of late. No sex tapes, no things like that. So I guess that's good news. And flat earthers arguing amongst themselves at least can produce more accurate information. Because here on the Iron Realm, we know that as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. So at least that there's something good that can come from that, from the arguing and infighting, as long as it's done on a cordial and civil basis.
Indeed. We've all had our differences of opinion on some of these theories and ideas, and have all shown each other some different ideas about some of this crazy stuff we're looking at.
Candor says, this is why IRM is the best. No drama. Well, thank you so much. We are pretty damn good at we do make a very pointed effort to keep any drama we have internally. So the last year and a half that we've been trying to set this up and get this going has definitely not been without its drama. But nobody else.
One day we'll release the behind the scenes episodes.
Well, the Netflix, the special.
There you go. The pop-up video. All the little
Adam, speak, brother. You're so quiet, Adam. Speak.
What? No, I'm just worried in case we see shots of Rob in the bath or anything like that. That would be worrying. But no, sorry. I've been listening. I've really enjoyed listening. Listening to that, I was really interested in the stories we were told there in terms of, you know, a very different perspective, not something I'd heard a first-hand tale on before. So that's why I was quiet. I was listening. It's not something I do very often, is it? Be quiet. So that was good. I enjoyed that, guys.
Yeah, it was some good stuff. He definitely touched on a lot of topics, and I mean, some of it definitely is, you know, scary, but I mean, you have to open your eyes to what's going on in this world around us. That's kind of what we're doing this for, and he brought it from a very personal place. It was riveting, for sure.
Certainly does warm my heart to hear a former vet pleading and begging others not to join the military. I mean, I tried doing that on the radio and was met with some serious hostility when I did it here in St. Louis. So I'm just glad to hear someone else getting out there and saying, don't join the military, because I'm a firm believer.
And they fool you too. I mean, even in Canada, I've seen they used to play the U.S. Navy and the Air Force commercials here. They are like pump you up, like dun dun dun, like hero. It's Rambo, and you get to play him. So even I was prey as a Canadian looking at these commercials, going, "Oh, if only," but I'd never be big enough, you know. But still, I'd still get taken by it. It's crazy. It's manipulation.
They will straight up lie to you. I mean, they will tell you whatever you want to hear just to get you to sign those papers. That is the role of that recruiter.
Oh, yeah. They were saying the free T-shirt. I guess that's their thing. They maybe buy you a beer or I don't know, whatever they used to do. I'm sure they did something.
Well, it was all a big ego stroke. When I joined when I was 17 on what was called the delayed entry program, meaning you're basically signing like a promise contract, a promise ring. You promise that when you graduate high school, you will just ship right off, no questions asked. So I spent a full year getting preconditioned for boot camp and then into boot camp, where it's all just trauma-based mind control. That being said, anyone who's in boot camp, that's your way out. You can just simply refuse, tell them you're done. Not what you thought it was. Sorry, made a mistake. Time for me to go home now. And they'll try to threaten you, and they'll say lots of things and how they're going to throw you in the brig and how it's just not possible because you signed the contract. But bottom line is, basically through boot camp, you can decide to opt out at any time, provided you have the intestinal fortitude to stand up to them and resist the authority that's going to come down upon you, and they will, with threats of violence and possibly violence and lots of bad language. But
that's
if you
good
stick to
information, Josh, though. That is really good information. If that's, you know, spot on, that boot camp is the, you know, the last stop before the crossroads, then good information.
The bicycle shop. Sorry, John.
You know, maybe that's the hamster.
Park your bike in Kardashian's ass out the front. Yeah.
No, the only reason I'm saying it is because the listeners hear it too, and it's killing Dundee's ears. And some of our listeners, they hear the whistling too.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Really? I'll shut up.
Well, yeah, I don't know who else it'd be if not you, John. I only hear it when you talk. Unless it's those hamsters on their wheel that are powering my computer.
I was about to say, is that our realm computer is our hamster wheel getting squeaky?
Oh, the hamster dance. Remember?
I don't. I remember the Humpty Dance.
Good. Don't even look at the hamster dance song then ever.
Dance is your chance to do the hamp.
Hump, hump, do me, baby.
All right, no more than 10 seconds. Don't sing more than 10 seconds.
You want to get that copyright strike?
Oh.
Or just, Josh, you suck. Don't sing more than 10 seconds.
But no, strictly copyright. Nothing to do with the voice.
We must be getting to the Fringe in about 5 minutes, I think. Okay, towel.
Now, somebody had police sirens in the background, and I know that wasn't me.
That was me.
Was that you, Jimmy?
Mm-hmm. Nothing I could do about it, though. It's a happening place here. That was the one ambulance a year we get. Sorry, it happened right now.
All right. We'll just mark it down. I expect not to hear one again for the next 364 days.
Indeed, our ISO rating depends on it. We have been accident-free for 1 week.
Richie's in the chat. Hi, Richard. Glad to see you on this Flat Earth Friday. Hope you're keeping it flat.
For sure. Welcome, sir.
By the way, Richard, I have not forgotten about you. I do have your logo. I just need to grab that blue background for you. I can't seem to find the right shadow boxed blue that would hold your logo in it, but I've not forgotten you. I've got you all lined up and ready to go. And hopefully by the end of the weekend, I should have it ready. And I know that's what I said last weekend, but this weekend, just wanted to know I love you and haven't forgotten about you. We'll get that logo straightened out for you so you can start cranking out those videos. For anyone that
I think we've had a smashing show. What do you guys think?
Yes, it was an awesome show, guys.
There's one bit I didn't get to mention.
Oh, go ahead.
A cracking bit of journalism that was found this week. It was, I think it's been voted contender for the best Flat Earth news find.
Absolutely, sir.
The Russian capsule vid, yes, which I thought was amazingly produced as well.
It was
our own Jimmy boy.
I thought it was a wicked vid, but also a really, really good find. And I don't know if we can play out with that if we're going to head to the Fringe. And
yes, I actually have two videos that I want to play out with. One to give everybody a hopeful boost, and the other one is the Russian aeronauts. That, you know what? Amazing. How does this happen? It happens by faith or by spirit, lad. Because I was researching Admiral Byrd and the first snowmobile ever that they had custom built for him to go on his expedition, and I just finished looking at the sucker, going, "Wow, what a piece of!" And then I looked over and I'm like, "Wait a second, stratosphere? You're kidding me!" And I just boom, and the rest is history.
An awesome article. It's so hard to keep my mouth shut.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we play your contender video out now, and maybe we'll play the slideshow out at the end of the Fringe? Or would you rather do it the other way around?
I would actually the other way around. I really want to get that video out there just to give everyone a little boost.
Nice.
I could care less about the capsule, but yeah.
All right. Is there sound on your slideshow?
Of course there is. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. All right, then, everybody. We are going to take a little break. We're going to play James's Flat Earth Hope video on our way out. And when we come back, it's going to be the Fringe section of our show, whereupon anyone who wants to join in is more than welcome. Let us know. We'll send you a link, and you can come in and have a little chit-chat with us. Ask us anything you want. Anybody that doesn't have the link, feel free to send your questions over to our Twitter page at IronRealmMedia on Twitter. You can text them or send them via voicemail on our flat line. That's 503-304-3528. You could just spell flat if you wanted to. Yeah, that'd be good.
We just got a call on the flat line, it looks like. Popped up on my screen here. We could probably read that when we get back, actually.
That would be awesome. All right, everybody, we'll see you in a little bit. And this is going to be James's Flat Earth Hope from the Full Armor OG.
But that's too funny. Globalization, yeah.
And
Love
so
it.
that was what struck me is this with this latest one. The way he slips it in, it's almost that thing to get your attention because he wants you to really pay attention to what he says directly after it. So he says the world is flat to make you perk your ears up, and then he'll slip something else in. Listen.
This Jordanian couple in this story, they had 2 children with a mitochondrial defect, both of whom died at a young age.
Why was this performed in Mexico?
Well, because right now it's not necessarily legal in the United States. In the UK, they did pass a law allowing it to happen, although it hasn't happened. And in Mexico, you can do whatever you want in this regard. And it really goes to speak with these new technologies. The world is flat. There needs to be global governance so that we all do it right and we have the right outcome both for the children and the parents.
There you go. The earth is flat because we need a one world government for the kids.
No, I didn't hear that. I heard something different there. That the global governance was relating to the medical treatment, so that all medical treatment that was actually within the sentence structure. But for me, once again, there he just name bombs, just bombs it in the middle of a perfectly adequate sentence. The world is flat.
Could he just be saying it to describe that the world is on the same level, like it's a level playing field for the mosquitoes? It's flat, it's stagnant. That's what he could be saying.
I think he's just making a perfectly "the world is flat" sentence, and just completely dropping "the world is flat" in the middle of his sentence.
I think that's what he's doing too. IronRealmMedia. That's a really great idea.
Yeah.
I think the more conversations we should have, IronRealmMedia, we could just keep doing that. Just find one particular phrase, IronRealmMedia, and just inject it into every sentence you speak, IronRealmMedia.
Well, in an IronRealmMedia day, I mean, everything that you do or think, I mean, you should always think.
Well, I think as long as we mention IronRealmMedia at least sort of 3 times, then there's no harm in that. But that's exactly what he's doing. It's programming.
When I hear the big bus pulling up, John, I think of IronRealmMedia.
Absolutely. I mean, I IronRealmMedia all the time, and I think that this guy is saying that the world is flat. What he's clearly saying is the world is small, therefore these things get around the world. IronRealmMedia. So therefore, what he's doing is dropping in the words in a sort of neural linguistic IronRealmMedia sort of way that. He's substituting the word small for flat, and everyone's sucking it up. IronRealmMedia.
Very good.
It's that beat and a half afterwards, that little pause. Like you forgot it.
I don't know. I don't know if that will Brian Cox work very well, Brian Cox.
Oh dear.
I saw a video the other day that he was a tranny, eh? Possible girl.
Thing is huge, man. There's so much, Rob, going on with that trend.
He is very feminine, but
agree.
He is quite tall too, I think. But there are tall women out there, I suppose. But maybe they grabbed a tall woman to make it easier to make him into a man. But I don't know. He is very feminine, isn't he?
Mm.
Yep. Feminine. Yep.
Yep.
I think him and Mike West are brothers.
Oh,
yeah, they do. They do look similar, don't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
Cox West.
If I was Dallas Fort Goldbug,
life is peaceful there.
Yeah.
All right, now everybody Cox East. All right, so everybody Cox North.
IronRealmMedia seems to have it's a, what do you call it? Where you hang your sheets in the wind and it just spins around and makes noise.
A clothesline?
Clothesline. Okay, clothesline. That's what I'm referring it to now.
That's right. The IronRealmMedia clothesline, where you come to air your dirty laundry.
Yep. Call the clothesline now at 304.
I was going to say earlier on, the billboard that's in Philadelphia. Did you saw the news story where the news readers were, as they were talking about flat Earth, they were laughing. And for anyone that was just watching a flat Earth story for the first time, they would laugh and probably not look at it again either, because the news readers are laughing at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you agree with that?
I'm sure. I mean, that's the whole
yeah.
point of the talking head.
Yeah, I was gonna say that earlier on, but I didn't get the opportunity. But you see them laugh, and we all laughed the first time we heard it too.
Well, that's the margin.
You just seeing the newsreaders. You know what I mean? They do take it out of you. They are taking the piss out of you.
They marginalize flat earthers without even saying a word. So somebody put up a flat Earth billboard.
Yeah. Then they shoot to the guy that does the weather, and he's having a chuckle in there. And then people like to be in the majority. So if you're not in the majority,
they did
then you're in the minority.
Did you see that there was a place in the UK where they did almost like a crop circle in the field, and it said research flat Earth, and then even the UK broadcasters were like, and just to tell the folks at home, the reason we think they did this is that some people actually believe the world is flat still. So
yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh. There was one other thing that was really cool this week I saw on Twitter, which was a car in the States that was all done up with a big back window that says research flat Earth. You see that one, Adam?
Yeah, a little bit hippie wagon from the side, but yeah, I mean, I'm not thinking they're starting to do that to my car unless, like John says, write it in the dirt on you.
Yeah, you'd never do it to your Lamborghini, would you?
It's true. It was a bit of a beater.
Or is it? What do you got these days, Adam? You got Ferrari, or what do you got?
Well, once he put his Lambo in the shop, he had to downgrade.
He took it off. He's
back. Oh, he didn't like that, did he?
Sugar word drop.
I never heard it, unfortunately. So.
James was saying that you've got a Lamborghini or a Mercedes or something.
Rob was saying you have a Pinto.
Oh yeah, I've got a car. But nothing like that. Nothing like
You
that.
gonna do a big banner on the back window there?
I might write on the dirt. I've certainly got the dirt ready for it. So
I reckon he's got a big car with a pill on top of it, like a work car. A big pill on top of it. Drives around with a big pill.
Drugs are bad. Earth is flat.
Adam, you've got a conveyance, surely. Not
yes,
car.
I have a car. Yeah.
Next shop, Nottingham.
You what? Are you pressuring me to tell you what car it is? Is that what you?
No, just the plate number.
Yeah, I was about to say just we don't need the number plate.
Have you got a Holden or a Ford, Rob?
Ford.
No, I saw a Holden on your drive.
It's a Gremlin.
No, Ford.
Gremlin.
Ford.
Are you
Blue.
sure?
We know John has a bicycle, a squeaky bicycle.
I don't actually.
No.
I've got a dog.
John's living in the Stone Ages.
I've got my legs. Actually, I've got a Mazda. I've got a Mazda 323 1994, and it's a cracker.
I had a 626 back in the day. Lovely motor.
Ooh.
I did too.
I had a Honda CRX back in the day in '85.
Ooh.
I had a Protege and a 626.
Ooh.
I had a Mini Cooper.
Ooh,
And a
wow.
Ford Escort.
Yeah.
Oh, was that the Aston Martin, John, or was that one before BMW bought them?
Bought who?
Mini.
Oh no, it's pre. Yeah, this is proper Italian job. Mini Cooper
Nice.
with the white stripe and the dual fuel tank. And a Golf GTI Mark II. Black, of course.
Very nice. Oh, the whistles are back today.
They're horrible.
Squeak, squeak, squeak. It's been driving me nuts. I'm going to lose my mind. I have to take my headphones off.
Can you tell me what you're hearing?
The worst.
Because it's obviously me, apparently. So now someone's whistling. That's what you're hearing,
No.
is it?
Yeah, that's what it's like. Yeah.
That's me emulating it.
Does it make
Very
any
good.
difference? Good grief.
Ah,
Does that make any difference?
Yeah, that's worse. Oh, that's really worse. Yeah.
That's worse.
Well, at least we got it nailed down.
Is there a fan? Is there a?
There
I'm a
is
fan.
nothing around me. I'm literally in
And
a
I'm a fan.
sound
And
Right.
headphones are
studio.
going off.
That's
I'm going to mute now
possibly.
because I'm a leper.
ring your bell. You don't need to ring a bell.
Ring my bell. My bell. Ring my bell.
Ring, 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 ring.
Is it? Oh, it's gone. Oh.
Just amazing.
Science.
I have to get off here in a minute, fellows.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to call it a day.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it's good timing.
If you've got nobody
5:33.
joining
So
us.
yeah, perfect.
Well, then let's get out of here. I think the ball game is done. It's flat. The world is flat. So, everybody, this has been another IronRealmMedia Flat Earth Friday FRINGE-CAST. My name is Josh Corey, IronRealmMedia.
Okay, talk.
Okay, talk.
IronRealmMedia.
So, on our way out, we will be playing the contender for the best flat Earth news find of 2017, the 1933 Russian capsule
Heck yeah.
by our very own TheFullArmorOG, a.k.a. Jimmy.
Top Jimmy.
Okay, talk.
I've just thought of a dad joke.
Oh, shit.
Oh, we got to have
We
one.
almost got off without it.
There was
All
something
right,
I
what you
saw.
got?
in the week. I'm not claiming it's original, but it is a good dad joke, and I will share it with my children. I did it was, as we're talking about all these FEMA camps. I've heard that it stands for Flat Earth Mental Asylum, so that's what they're planning for. I love it. Proper dad joke
Love
silence.
it. Love it.
Proper
Love
silence.
That's like the dad whose kid comes up to him and says, "Hey, Dad, can I watch TV?" And the dad says, "Sure, you can for hours. Just don't turn it on."
Oh, you're not allowed to laugh, Josh.
You know who had some great dad jokes was Rodney Dangerfield. He was one of my favorite comedians with dad jokes.
He was.
It wasn't until I was 12 years old until I realized they didn't make Alpo baby food.
Good night.
Is this thing on?
Good night, everyone.
Try the prime rib. I'll be here all week.
Oh, can you hear a whistle there?
All right, so this is the end of Flat Earth Friday for the 23rd of June, 2017.
I miss everybody at home. I love you all. That wasn't for you guys. I love y'all too, but that was for Michelle and the rest. They know who they are.
Trippy, Mr. Nobody, Eck, Wendy, everybody in the chat, thanks for sticking around with us. It was a relatively short show, given our history, and this being the longest Friday of the year. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with us, and we hope to see y'all back next week. Everybody, be good. Try to make better choices than you did yesterday.
Thanks, Jerry.
God bless. Good night.
Hey, everybody. First off, I just want to say thank you for all of the support and all the views and all the good comments, for all the 100 bad ones. Big shout out to the IronRealmMedia crew, Adam, Josh, Walt, John, Rob. If you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you head down to the IronRealmMedia YouTube channel now and check us out. We got lots of exciting stuff coming up. We do a weekly show called the Flat Friday FRINGE-CAST. And for this week, I actually wanted to make a video on something that I had wanted to do for a while. It's just a short, fantastic article I found while I was researching Admiral Byrd. So I'm going to go ahead and read that. So this is from December 1933, Science magazine, and the title is called Sky Violet in Color at 11-mile elevation. Soaring in their airtight balloon gondola to the record-breaking height of 11.8 miles above the Earth, the other day, 3 Russian aeronauts brought back the first scientific observations ever made at so great an altitude. Above their heads, the sky provided a striking spectacle. Its color had turned to a soft, deep violet, almost devoid of the light-reflecting haze found at the lower levels. Looking down, they tried in vain to detect any curvature on the Earth's horizon. Owing their successful voyage to the stratosphere in the gondola illustrated above, still higher ascents are planned. So that's the article. I find it awesome. It parallels Auguste Piccard's balloon trip. And I just think it's awesome. And look where it is. Sitting beside a snowmobile that is going to be used by a great Admiral Byrd to go to Antarctica. It's almost like somebody put this here on purpose. Anyways, that is this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it.
Hi, I'm Carly Kloss, and today I'm going to show you how to create your own website with Wix. With Wix, it's easy, and the result is stunning. There are tons.
Fucking autoplay.
Right on.
I love that video.
That was really good.
Great
Took me
fun.
long enough. I was sitting on it for a while.
Yes, you have been, sir.
I found it the night after the first John Brahma interview. He inspired me to go into after Bird. So that's how I found it.
Well, fellas, it was a wonderful show. Earl, thanks for showing up. I'm about to head out. I will talk to you guys probably this next couple of days or so.
Oh, I'm
What are you
still
up to?
whistling?
Something this Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Whistler's mother.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
dude, majorly. That's incredible.
Sounds like you're putting something too close to something and you're getting that high pitched feedback. Mm-hmm.
Do you have external speakers on?
Nope.
Don't know then. That's wild. Try a different headset maybe, or I don't know. Anyway, guys, I am out. I'm just going to eat. I'm starving.
Peace.
Love y'all.
Love you.
Bye.
Love you too, man. Later. All right, my head's gonna blow from all the squeaking. John, I don't mean it personally. It's just I have monitors from when I used to mix music, so they're really sensitive, and like my head kills.
You can still hear it.
I could. I don't know about right now. Talk.
1, 2, 3. Test. I've taken everything out and plugged it all back in again. So just wondering.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it.
No, I'm not hearing it. That would have been so useful if you would have done that maybe 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for thinking about it now.
Better late than never. Now we know for next time.
We sure do.
All right. Well, I got a mouthful of food. I'm going to head off and finish eating my dinner as well.
Me too. I love you guys. You have a great time. I'll talk to you in the next day or two. Cheers.
Cheers. I'll be up later if you guys want to hang out. Otherwise, I will talk to you later. John, you're the only one that's left. So I will talk to you later, John.
All right, bud. Take it easy.
All right. You too. Sleep well.